Hello again, Inanimate Insanity 2 fans, and welcome to the Truth or Flare question and answer session. That's right. This is your chance to ask whatever question you wish about the long-awaited return of Inanimate Insanity 2. That's right. This is your time. This is your moment. We are here. We're all gathered together. I wasn't necessarily planning on doing this, but I just had to do it because this new episode, y'all really showed up for it. Not only did we have premiere screenings around the country over the course of this summer, in which the reactions were just utterly, viscerally enthusiastic, but also just its premiere on YouTube. It already has performed better than any other episode in the history of Inanimate Insanity. It's done better than any other episode's first week in less than a week already. So, due to the sheer amount of excitement over this episode, I truly I owe it to you all to have this little question and answer session, and I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. I know, obviously, in the events, there are only so many questions we can get to because those lines fill up fast and we have a limited amount of time that we have in the venue. But here, just a virtual space. So, just throw your questions out. And yeah, let's without further ado, let's get started because I like this one from Beanie Man. How long have you known that Suitcase and Knife would be the final two? It's been my prediction for a while. LOL. To which I would say, obviously, there are asterisks on this because season 2 was an elimination based competition, and by elimination based, I mean viewer vote based competition for quite a long time. However, the notion of Suitcase and Knife being the final two, at least in my mind, dates back to 2013. So the very first year that we were working on season 2. And all of their interactions, and they don't have that many, but their interactions are meant to be tinged with a certain sense of, that's interesting. There's something between them there. And it feels so good to be able to just say, like, yeah, Suitcase and Knife, they were the duo. And I still feel like it's something I'm not supposed to say because I've just been holding onto this secret for like a good portion of my life at this point. But no, now you all know it's Suitcase and Knife. Was what I always thought. I always thought just it would be cool if it was like, yeah, these are the two characters that are opposites, so to speak. And in ways, they kind of role reverse, as MePhone says, in the sense that Suitcase becomes someone more assertive, someone more willing to stand up for herself, maybe do something that isn't seen as likable, perhaps even is seen as mean. Whereas Knife, he'll kind of fall under pressure. He'll hold a lot inside. He won't like reveal the secrets, and it's perhaps out of sensitivity. It's he's trying to care for the others around him. So I thought it would just be really interesting to see that dichotomy between the two of them, and I'm really glad that it ended up being those two. And look, I mean, I think the defining moment or the defining episode of Inanimate Insanity, not just Inanimate Insanity 2, but Inanimate Insanity in general, is Kick the Bucket. And the defining moment of that episode is the scene on the dock between Suitcase and Knife. So for me, it's always been Suitcase and Knife. That's our main duo. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question, Beanie Man. Thanks for coming. I know you're an OG. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh my goodness. From Jelly Spaghetti. Brian, I want to ask, what's your favorite scene of season 2, episode 15? Wow, that's a hard one. I mean, obviously the song is incredible. I feel like it's cheating to just say the song, so I'll try to come up with something else. I, you know, I really, I really like a lot of the scenes in the episode, but I think I especially enjoy. It's just a very specific moment when Meepad decides that he is going to formally resign from his role as MePhone's assistant. And there's just sort of this lingering silence as MePhone is turned away from the camera. And then he turns back around to face us and goes, well, and he's right back into the competition show mode. Because I remember thinking, like, oh, we probably have to extend that more. Maybe we'll do like a little zoom in. There'll be like a little sound of like, and then I'll switch to, and I'll kind of show like, oh, yeah, we see MePhone feel the pain of it. And then he regresses and like masks it. But I actually kind of am obsessed with how it turned out, which is just this idea that it's like, oh, he is not facing us. So he's literally, even from the construct of the show itself that we are watching, MePhone has hidden away his emotion. I really love that. I find that very compelling. I just thought that was very unique. I really enjoy it. MePhone 3GS asks, "Hi Brian, was there a reason for making MePhone 4 so mean again?" Yeah, so this is something really interesting, and I feel like I saw somebody understand the intention most clearly in this discourse, because there are some people who are like, "Oh, MePhone seems meaner than perhaps he seemed that he would be at the end of Invitational." And I'm sorry that I don't remember exactly who it was that had this observation. Whoever it was, please take your credit. But the thought of it is, yes, well, in the end of Invitational, it's about MePhone kind of comes to this conclusion that what is it? He needs to go back to what he's been hiding from, what he's been running from, season 2. He needs to stop putting it off and needs to return, and it can't run away from it forever. He has to come back. That does not mean that suddenly he's a great guy. He's facing his demons, and as a matter of fact, in the process of facing his demons, I think he's really putting on a front more than ever, because he has to be like, all right, I'm going straight into competition show mode. I kind of need this mask in order to get through this very tumultuous time. But even then, you see the mask kind of slip at the very end when Cobbs gives him a call. So that's the thought behind it. Obviously appreciate if people think that it is a regression on the part of MePhone 4, but truly, I mean, I think this is his most vulnerable place that he could return to, and he knew it would be. That's why he was avoiding it for so long. So that is why he is trying to be as fake as possible while he's there. So it feels less real to him and less scary to him as a result. From Speedy Gelatin. Howdy, Brian. I have to say, the episode was amazing. Thank you. I adored it. My personal fave bit is the whole taco breakdown bit, which goes on a rant. It's really well done. How many drafts did it take you? Oh, thank you. Well, it's a great question. I think the most important thing to know about the writing process for this episode is that this script, at least like basically about 90% of where it was at, was like pretty much done for about 3 years, I want to say. So like it's definitely the episode that's been in development the longest. I'm sure it took a couple passes to get the breakdown to be where it's at. I think really the main stuff that was added later on was the stuff about Taco being like, oh, like you think I'm you think no one should quit? What about you? Like that whole thing about what exactly do you do on your vacation. We got into more detail about that when season 3 was more solidified. But it's interesting because this script, in my mind, it was canon, it was locked in, and it was something that we were going to be able to tell once we got to this chronological point in the story. And that's part of why when we did I wrote the episode Home is Where the Heart Is of season 3, the one where the floor they're trying to get the floor to leave. And there's this paintbrush storyline that kind of is about them realizing, oh, I'm not as much into the game at this point. I need to go back home. I need to, go back to what I care about, and I miss Lightbulb and all this stuff. And it was sort of actually reverse engineered in order to work its way into what I had already written for this episode. So even though you are seeing Truth or Flare years after Home is Where the Heart Is, Home is Where the Heart Is was conceived and written after Truth or Flare, but hopefully they sync up seamlessly. Boca, will Suitcase and Balloon reunite, Brian? Please, I will die. I mean, this is more of a spoiler question, so I can't really answer. Beyond just saying that, in general, I think you could expect to see a variety of familiar faces return in the finale episode of Inanimate Insanity 2, as I'm sure you should expect in general for any season finale episode that we do, or, any competition show. That's something that should happen. Let's see. Cream Carton asks, is Taco going to talk to Mike and Pickle next episode? Again, not really something that I can deliver specifics on beyond just saying the episode ended the way it did for a reason. So he is looking into that window of Hotel OJ where Pickle and Microphone both are, and she sighs and says, no more hiding. To me, that strongly implies that she's going to do something. Now, what exactly it is that she's going to do and when she's going to do it remains to be seen, but certainly is not going to be a thread that is just dropped. No, we will get more. Okay, let's see. From Brain Better, when will Taco's tirade be released? Pretty soon, I think. Yeah, we're not going to wait to do a full album release that then it would be a part of. No, it should be releasing really, really soon. The demand is obviously high, so we will get it out there pretty soon. We want to give everyone a chance to watch the episode, enjoy the episode. Not release things too early, but I think everyone already is clamoring for it to be released. So hopefully soon we'll be able to see it come through. Jelly Spaghetti asks, what's your opinion about Taco's character development? A great question. Taco, easily one of my favorite characters to write for. I just think there's such a rich history to draw upon for her. She obviously went through a lot in the first season. She kind of had this whole other version of herself that she put out there. And what I find most interesting is how you would think when she comes back in season 2 and she's like, oh, I'm going to make a deal with Microphone, that she is going to manipulate Microphone. She is going to be the one in control, the one in power, the one, leading the more ignorant and innocent Microphone. But Microphone at a point is like, I'm done, and cuts Taco off. And Taco doesn't really have any experience with that. This idea of like, oh, well, we were friends, and then suddenly that friendship is gone. In a way, Taco is sort of experiencing what Pickle experienced, where it's just this abrupt, hey, we're done. Except, of course, in the case of Microphone, it's justified. It's a totally different scenario where it's like Microphone's like, hey, I'm gonna stop this because you're like a murderer or like, well, not a murderer, but like you're doing all this violent stuff or making threats, and I'm just not about it. So obviously it's for very different reasons, but I just mean on an emotional level, she's going through that sudden sense of withdrawal that comes from, I have lost the closest personal connection in my life. And the way in which she responds to that, I find incredibly interesting, because it's not just, well, I still want my money, I'm going to be evil, and da-da-da-da. Like, no, like, she sees the root of all evil as the show, Inanimate Insanity, the competition. And she has a lot of good points, because, like, as we've sort of discussed over the course of the series, particularly in season 2, the competition is kind of the root of a lot of evil. So she's certainly not wrong for saying that. But there's also something to this idea of trying to absolve yourself of any blame. Suitcase has a great line near the end of the episode where it's, no, I'm not going to hide behind the game like MePhone does. Because baseball's like, oh, like, listen, Suitcase, I know at this point it's not your fault. This isn't you. It's just MePhone and the surprise rule changes when it's like a double elimination or whatever. And even earlier in the episode, he's like, no, I'm not mad at you for voting out Nickel anymore because you're just a victim of circumstance. And you could see, even in the moment, that Suitcase is kind of hurt by those words, because Suitcase doesn't want to just be that she's this victim of circumstance with no agency. She has agency. She's her own person that can, do things, and it's important for her to be seen as such. So, yeah, that obviously is a really big thing for her. Let's see. From Trippy Chai, question: how do you guys know you want to talk about the song this episode? How long was it planned for? Another component of the episode that was planned out for like 3 years. Now, in terms of the actual song itself, that was only written more recently, within like the last 6 months ish. But there's always like temp lyrics. I had like a very rough early version that was temp lyrics. I don't think there was much to it that ended up in the final version beyond just like the pain and more than we gain or whatever type beat. I mean, those lyrics rather. Ben really, he took it. He went crazy with it. He made his own. He made a whole masterpiece out of it. So yeah, the desire for Taco to have a song predated the episode by many years. The actual writing of the specific lyrics to the song and the composition and all that was more recent in the last like half year or so. Saturn says, I've noticed that Knife's tone was a bit more sassy in the new episode. Was there any reason to that? Wasn't intentional? Well, I think a lot of that comes down to his interactions with Taco, someone whom he does not respect and in fact is irritated by. And I think he enjoyed, because Taco really wanted to play with him in this way of like, oh, I'm going to humiliate you and make you reveal your secret in front of everyone. But then Knife played right back with her in a way that she didn't expect, which I found very enjoyable, because I think, yeah, Knife is like little smart guy. It's fun to see that side of him come out. That's like a little bit more playfully sinister, because usually he doesn't really show that, especially in this season 2 era for himself, where he's trying to be seen as someone who's more level-headed and thoughtful and strategic. So it wouldn't usually behoove him to have this kind of attitude. But actually, here in this case, it was most strategic for him to be that way. So I think he leaned into a part of himself that is more core to who he is than perhaps he's willing to let on. And yeah, it was very enjoyable to see. From Froggy Ribbit, during the writing of episode 15, were there any other challenge ideas in mind, or at least any notable ones? Whew. I mean, it's been Truth or Flare for pretty much as long as I can remember. I feel like maybe there were other pitches, but at least in terms of what I wanted to do, for when I came on to write the episode, it was this. I guess it was like the specific mechanics that maybe still needed to be figured out, but it was definitely this thought of like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do like this platform thing. Maybe there wasn't always the get the sticks from the woods or whatever part of it, which mainly is just an excuse to be like, all right, well, here's a part where Taco could sing the song. But yeah, there definitely, I feel like even in the earliest versions was always this thing of, okay, we are going to have the platforms, the truth detecting platforms. It'll be sort of a twist on the classic Survivor fire making type challenge, but with an added truth or dare element to it. And yeah, I just always thought that was a really great combination and a great way to kind of be uh the penultimate episode, the calm before the storm. But except it's not really the calm before the storm, because it's a fairly stormy episode in which someone comes and totally upends the show. So like, yeah, it's not really the calm before the storm. It's more like the storm before the tornado, I guess, is how you could look at it. Let's see. Hmm. Roblox Noob 12 2020. Inanimate Insanity Season 2, Episode 16 is written. Oh, I thought they were asking, is it written? Would that be a question? No, they're just saying it is written. Which, I mean, yes, you are right. That's true. Correct. Your platform can raise up into the sky. So congratulations. That's really, really great. Let's see. From Gummy Dummy, how hard was it to choose the eliminated contestants, baseball and light bulb? How did you choose those two to be the ones to go this episode? Well, like I said, Suitcase and Knife have been the final two in my mind for a very long time. So for me, this was really just about, okay, well, let's give both baseball and light bulb their due when it comes to a fitting elimination episode for both of them. Now, that is not to say that there isn't anything left for them to do this season, because there is, particularly for one of them, I would say, one whose story is maybe a little bit less tied up in a bow than the others. But yeah, so it was making sure that there was a great deal of respect paid to both of these characters, because I think for Lightbulb, what was important was finally addressing this idea of, hey, yeah, she is the last light standing. All of her other friends are gone. She has this chip on her shoulder of like, I need to prove myself. Everyone is going to think like, why me? Why am I still the one here? I'm the least impressive. I know I was the leader, but I was the least impressive, especially compared to someone like Paintbrush. And her being able to admit to herself the truth within herself of like, she doesn't really want to win the competition, actually, when she's honest with herself. That was very important. And for baseball, this whole story of him as a leader, I think for him, his way of leading, and this is a very tempting way to lead, and I think it's a very good lesson that isn't often taught. The way baseball wanted to lead was, hey, I don't want there to be conflict. However, I can minimize conflict as much as possible, even if I know that there are issues going on. I'm going to kind of not talk about them, brush them under the rug, or maybe like take someone to the side, tell you whatever. But like, I don't want to hash this out in the open. Let's just try to all put on a happy face and get through this. And it's that sort of willful ignorance that results in him not being able to have these deep relationships with other characters. So when he's like, oh, between, Mike, Balloon, Suitcase, he clearly missed everything about his team. Yeah, because he wasn't really looking, and that's what Lightbulb tells him that he needs to do. He was willfully avoiding a closer look, but he shouldn't do that anymore. And maybe we'll see him trying to stop doing that. Who knows? Maybe, maybe, maybe. From Charms, hey Brian, how was I-15 only a day? Wasn't there a day and night cycle? I assume this is referring to season 3, actually, when it's like baseball has that question of like, what do you mean? Like a vacation? We saw you like last night. And MePhone's like, yeah, for half a day, the world actually felt peaceful. People are like, how could it possibly be that season 3 took place in like half a day? That doesn't make any sense. Even Snapshot Showdown, the picture taking challenge clearly is a 24-hour challenge or whatever. So yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense. So that's something that's going to have to be explained in the impending finale of the season. So stay tuned. It will make sense soon. I don't think it will make sense in the way that perhaps you expect it to make sense, but it will make sense. This is intentional. It is very much intentional. It is not a goof. It is not a cinema sin. It's not a plot hole. It will not be. MePhone3GS asked, will Starfruit ever come back? I really miss him. Starfruit. Well, you know, my rates are pretty high these days. I don't know if I'm going to be coming back, but maybe if they meet my demands for the finale, I shall make a return appearance. You heard it here first. Okay. Thank you, Starfruit. From Lemon Juice Objects, thank you for the donation. How do you feel about Knife getting into the final 2? I feel great about it, especially because I very much tried to will it into existence. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Knife and Suitcase, I've had them as the ideal pairing for a final 2 for the season. And I think Knife has really earned it. You know, we've seen not just his strategy, but his personal growth as a character has been a focal point of the season since very early on. And I think he's done it in a non-superficial way. I think it started out superficial, where he would be like, oh, well, I'm going to do this stuff where, I'm going to try sarcasm or whatever so I can, hide some of my more negative emotions and be able to insult people just in a more jokey way, tee ha ha. But no, he truly changed over the course of time. He had that great moment with Pickle and everything's AOJ. The random act of kindness. That's where that comes from. I wonder how many people got that callback, because in Everything's AOJ, one of the couple of Suitcase and Knife interactions, it's a very key interaction, Suitcase kind of gives Knife this recommendation of, why don't you try a random act of kindness? And that random act of kindness is going over to talk to Pickle, kind of giving him this advice of, oh, you can't play the game that way. You got to be able to move on to the next stage, all that stuff. And it's a formative moment for Knife. And I think, makes Pickle a more important figure in his life. So it's a pretty big deal. And yeah, it's brought back in this episode where Knife's like, oh yeah, random act of kindness. This one taught me, he says in the beginning. And then the very end, when it comes to why did Suitcase take him to the finals, even though Suitcase still has suspicions about like, why didn't you tell us about Taco? What's the deal with that? Well, I guess you could call me bringing you with me a random act of kindness. So yeah, I mean, it's so great to see all of his development. And I think he's very much earned his place. And I'm curious who you all think in terms of who you're rooting for between Knife and Suitcase. Both of them seem to really have their fans. I would try to ask as often as I could during the events, who do you want between Knife and Suitcase? And yeah, there was just a lot of back and forth. It seems like, sometimes one would get louder cheers than the other. Sometimes, it would just keep switching back and forth. So who's to say? Okay, let's see. What else? Sorry if this is obvious, but was MePhone's vacation referring to the BFDI tour videos? That's really funny. I never considered that it could be interpreted that way. I think it's safe to say that it's not. It is. I mean, I can confirm it. It's referring to season 3 specifically. Although, I mean, I guess depending on if you would like to see those videos as canon, I mean, you can, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, then those also would fall within that range if you were to see them that way. Okay, let's see. What else? From Circus Clown. Will MePhone force Knife and Suitcase to turn against each other despite that being everything they've worked to not do? That's interesting. Well, obviously, as we see in the end of the episode, MePhone is definitely playing up the drama of them kind of going head to head. So I don't know if necessarily it is within MePhone's plan to turn them against each other, so to speak. But it's really just whatever makes for the most entertaining reality show. So if that is the case, then, then he'll have at it. But, it really just depends on what people want to see or what he thinks would be the best. Speedy Gelatin. I adore the use of motifs in this episode. Did you try to get that in, or like at the end of Taco's song, there's a motif to kick the bucket, or when a bit from a song from Microphone plays? Yes, so that's a mixture of John Metis, our maestro, our composer, who does the original score for Inanimate Insanity ever since Hatching the Plan. He definitely inserted some of those callbacks. The one you're referring to is the motif from Afterlife in the Limelight at the end of Taco's tirade. That is a Ben idea, which I think is a great callback because both of those songs are sort of about the negative aspects of the game, right? So I think it's very fitting that they both are connected very directly, not just thematically, but through that motif. Oh no, I was muted. Oh shoot, how long was I muted? Dang it. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Dang. Okay, wait. I'm going to see. Uh, okay, well, hopefully not too long. If I was, just let me know and I'll re-answer something. Okay, 40 3 minute, only a minute. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So community, what was your favorite part of this episode to work on? What I was saying while I was stupidly muted was my favorite part was the main section, the actual truth or flare part, where it just gets to be this bottle episode. It's the penultimate episode of the season. So it's just kind of leaning into this the dangling threads and covering them all of what are the things that the characters have repressed from each other. And that's part of what's really fun about getting near the end of a season where the cast has dwindled down to a small number, where it gets to just be really character driven and really specific between this set of characters. So I quite enjoy that. Yeah, so I think it was just that stuff where it was, and it was picking just what will be the best possible questions, my favorite questions, which is something that we even tell people to do at the events when it's like, oh man, we only have time for so many questions, so pick your favorite question. I had to pick my favorite question because I tried to really make it so that each of the contestants only really got maybe 2 or 3 questions a piece or so. Knife, I guess, technically gets more, but that's because, Knife and Taco are toying back and forth with each other. So there is that. From Pumpkinhead Animations, who needs school when you have Brian? I mean, fair enough. From Basil, hello. Is it possible we will see any more stuff about Cabby's parents? We have not forgotten about that storyline. I can't necessarily say exactly when we will return to it, but it is a seed we planted with a purpose. And more light will be set on it in the future. I can assure you of that. From Artificial Deluxe, hey, AD, how's it going? Is MePhone the only Meeple product that can recover the iCast? Also, it was amazing seeing you in person at the meetup. Yes, it was wonderful to see you in person as well, AD. Yes, MePhone not only is the only Meeple product that can recover the iCast, he is the only being, so to speak, that can recover the iCast. There's no other system of revival, so to speak, within this universe. That's why when Bo died, in season 1, and it's like, oh well, Bo died while MePhone was dead as well, so he never got the notification to recover her. if there were other ways to be revived, then, Bo could have just taken one of those, or one of those could have been utilized. But clearly those don't exist because Bo was not able to be revived. So that is your answer right there. And that is part of why MePhone is so important when it comes to these contestants. From Jaden Fluff. If you could pick any character to win II2, who would it be? Oh, great question. Here's my answer. Oh, whoops, I hit the mute button. Oh, well, I'm not going to answer it again. I only have time for so many questions. But anyway, thank you for asking that, Jaden Fluff. It's a really, really good question. From Necro Doge, where does II3 take place, like timeline-wise? The episodes of Inanimate Insanity were released to you in chronological order. So that means Season 2, Episode 14 came out, and then the next thing chronologically to happen was Season 3, Episode 1, all the way through the rest of Season 3. And now, after the conclusion of Season 3, we get Season 2, Episode 15. That is the timeline. We'd be like, well, that doesn't really seem to make sense. It will. It will. So yes, Wendy's brand account pretending to be a human. Oh, that's a good name. Does the finale take place after Invitational? Yes. And also Truth or Flare took place after Invitational. There you go. Jelly Jelly Spaghetti says, I love Taco Sari so much. I've been looping it several hundred times. Glad to hear it, friend. Glad to hear it. From Jessica Shields, was it going to be 2 separate episodes, or was it always planned to have the following episode be the finale of II2? Yeah, I mean, the episode after this was always planned to be the finale, whether it be multi-part or just the finale in general. But it is one big story to wrap it up. Yes, that was the thought. Yeah, from Roxy, consider this my formal resignation. Yes. One of my favorite quotes in the episode. I love Neepad's development. Ever since Kick the Bucket, we've really seen that guy go from someone who is unfeeling. He can't feel anything, sir. Clearly, he feels quite a lot for these contestants. He's come to care for them very much, perhaps more than any other figure in their lives. From Sparking Blaze, how do you feel about baseball's development thus far? He's my favorite of the Final Four, so I'd love to hear some thoughts you have on him and his time in II-15. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy his development. I know I touched on this a little bit before when I was talking about him, but just this idea of him being this leader that is ineffectual in a way that I think is less often talked about, where it's like, it's not like he's bad or toxic or like putting pressure on or anything. It's more just like he has a resistance to exposing the real issues. He just kind of wants to go off this thing of like, well, everything is fine. Everything is all good. We're all friends, even when we're clearly not. Even when Nickel is like hating Balloon and not really being respectful to Suitcase, he's still just sort of like, oh, well. And you might think, oh, well, that's a way to keep the peace. It's really not. It's not even a Band-Aid solution. It's just kind of letting the wound get worse and worse. So I enjoy seeing how this episode, he definitely takes some strides forward. This is very encouraging. But even as he does, he still, is saying stuff like, hey, I mean, I get now that Suitcase was just a victim of circumstance, or that he doesn't want to make her any more anxious than she already is, because now he heard what she confessed about the things that she sees. But Suitcase doesn't want to be treated differently. Suitcase doesn't want to be treated with kid gloves or anything like that. She is upset that then baseball is like, oh, like he went easy on me because of my last truth from today, but I hope you don't, Knife. And Knife's like, yeah, I mean, I don't see you any differently now. And Suitcase smiles at that. Because yeah, she doesn't want to be seen differently, and that's part of why I think she didn't want to talk about it. But even though baseball, he's genuinely trying to be supportive, he sort of says the wrong thing, and I think it's a really helpful thing to discuss. This idea that even when you have good intentions, sometimes your words may not come off great, and maybe you need to put a little bit more thought into what you've said. I think that's an important discussion. From Teardorp, who is your favorite character besides Fan? How presumptuous! You think I'm the favorite character? Whoa! Well, now, be still my heart. No, yeah. I mean, Taco is definitely up there, to be honest. Especially this episode, I think really bumps her up. I like MePhone a lot as well. I think both of them are really, really fun. I enjoyed writing them from the beginning, and I think my affection for them only grew more and more as I continued forward with II. From Eddie Cakes, I wanted to ask this at the Florida meetup, but couldn't. Well, now you can. I notice MePhone sometimes misspells words and swaps letters. I've wanted to know if he's possibly dyslexic or not. Is there a reason he does this? Well, interesting question. I think by all means that's a valid interpretation, even if it isn't necessarily the authorial intent. Who cares about authorial intent? Death of the author, am I right? But I mean, I feel like if there was any intent behind it, it was more just this idea of like MePhone is pretty young, so maybe he isn't the best at spelling. Yeah, I mean, this really obviously comes through an Invitational 10 with the transformation challenge, so to speak. Oh, yeah. So I mean, I think for us, it probably came more from that angle than anything. But I like your interpretation as well. Whatever you deem fit, I think it can be canon for you. Carly asks, I just want to ask, will we see more of Meepad and Taco as a duo in the future? Yes, you definitely will. I mean, we ended the episode with the two of them as a duo, so it only makes sense for them to continue as a duo. From the Hyena Queen, are the Purgatory Mansioners ever going to come back? And if you can't answer, what's your honest opinion on Knife? Yeah, I don't really know if I can answer about the Purgatory Mansioners. So, I will answer my honest opinion on Knife, which is that he's a cool dude. I like him. I think, like I said, he's had a lot of great development, and it's really awesome to see him in the finale. And I think, yeah, he provides a surprising amount of comic relief for someone that's like tough and serious as he is. It's interesting how much of a silly guy he can be. Yeah, I really like him. From Eva Castillo, how was Taco able to hit that high note? It was so impressive. Well, I mean, Ben wrote it that way, but in order for it to actually deliver, got to give it up to Reagan, the incredibly talented actress of Taco. Yeah, I was not there to direct her singing session because I don't think I would have been with much help. Ben was definitely there for that. But I did direct her for all of her spoken lines, which that alone was the longest recording session I've ever directed for Inanimate Insanity or otherwise. It was just a lot of lines. She not only is she, the host of the episode, but it's a lot more hands-on of a host with a lot more, like monologues and such that even MePhone would traditionally have. So I feel like it was by far the most lines that anyone has ever really had in an episode. So Reagan did an outstanding job in this episode, and she always does. So, but I just really was excited about this idea of, getting to have a showcase for her. Saturn, Brian, how do you feel about the community already coming up with a name for Taco's song, Taco's Tirade? I mean, the community didn't come up with that name. It is in the credits of the episode. I will say it was not the only name in consideration for the song. I think this idea of like dropped microphone or drop the mic, like that was something that was an interesting thought we had talked about for a while. I think we also talked about, is Taco Tirade catchier, even though it's grammatically incorrect. Taco Tango maybe was even tempting as well. But yeah, Taco's Tirade, I don't know, something about that I think just rolls off the tongue really well. Yeah, there were many different titles that were discussed as potential ideas. But yeah, Taco's Tirade, it just feels right. I think it's really good. Let's see. Since it was viewer vote, oh yeah, so this is from Seller Plate. Since it was viewer vote, did you guys think Trophy was going to be eliminated instead of Boggs? Oh yeah, in Cooking for the Greater Good, as in like, did we expect the result that did in fact happen, where Trophy did get out? I mean, I think that was part of the test of Box, like Adam has talked about. The Box was put in as like a test of like, if there was a mean character and then a character that literally is just there doing nothing, will people vote out the mean character? And I mean, the test was proven, so I don't think it was something that was totally, not on our radar. A lot of people are like, oh man, Trophy's story was cut so short. I'm like, yeah, like one can make the case that it was, but I don't think we expected to have a ton more runway with it than we did. So it wasn't a lot to have to be able to wrap things up in the beginning of Cooking for the Greater Good like we did. From Cyan207. Hi, Brian. Cyan here. Hello, Cyan. Do you think Taco Tirade is the best or one of the best songs of season 2? Yes. I think it's the best song we've had so far. Pretty much undoubtedly. It was an unbelievable production. From just the writing level to the final version. It was so good. Wow. Oh, someone has thrown an additional wrinkle. Lily pad. So, like Suitcase mentioned, we saw you like last night to MePhone. Oh, Baseball mentioned it, but yeah. But later in the episode, Paintbrush implies that I has happened. Yes, when they say you've missed a lot to Lightbulb. What is going on? I'm glad you picked up on that Paintbrush line as well, because yeah, those two things don't really link up. It will be explained. It will be explained. It will be explained. You will see. You will see. From Lechuga CC, is MePhone really a bad person? I don't think there's a clear yes or no answer to this question. I think it is up to you to watch the show and come to your own conclusion. I'm not just going to be here to be like, you should feel this way about this guy with a complicated past and present and future. This is how you should definitively feel. The end. No more ambiguity for you. Celestia says, question, hello, Brian. You're one of my favorite person in the II crew. Thank you. But anyway, well, okay, I guess you didn't finish the rest of your question. I'm sorry about that. If you'd like to finish your question, by all means, go ahead. Artificial Deluxe asks, how does it feel that Season 2 and possibly II coming to a close? It feels crazy. I mean, this is a storyline that has been in the works for over a decade, so it was very surreal to be wrapping it up. And there's certainly a good amount of pressure of like, man, we want to live up to not just all of y'all's expectations, but also just the expectations that are, even just in my head, they're very lofty, of like the most ambitious, like magnum opus thing we have done. So, yeah. Ugh, crazy. From Bendy Fan Animations. Hey, Brian, was great to see you at the meetup this year. Great to see you too, Bendy. I've gotten some news about episode 16. Is it true that the new episode's so long, you'll split into parts? Yes. Yes, it's a multi-part finale. It's huge, y'all. It's a feature-length finale. It is Inanimate Insanity 2, the movie, coming soon. You heard it here. Not first, but you heard it here again, I guess. Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, Slav, will we ever get fantastic features? If there's time, I know people still really have demand for it. One way or another, there will be more fan, so just try to be patient. From Ceaseless Soup. Question, is Taco going to talk to Pickle and Mike next episode? Yeah, there's a lot of demand for this. Okay, well, I can definitely at the very least say that an attempt will be made to talk to at least one of them. How about that? There you go. There will be an attempt that's made, but I cannot say if it will bear any fruit or not, or how it will be done, or when exactly it will happen. Let's see. Oh, so Celestia maybe would say, hell, Brian, you were one of my favorite people in the I crew, and I wish we could meet each other in the store, but I couldn't go. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, maybe next time, but either way, I'm glad we were able to share this virtual moment right here. Yay. Oh, from Panky. Hey, Panky, how's it going? It was great to see you again at the event this year, too. Not episode related, but I instantly noticed the differences in Suitcase expressions in the banner, depending on who she's next to. Super fun detail. Yeah, no, great observation there. Yeah, I mean, for Suitcase, obviously her whole demeanor is very much dependent on who she is sort of dealing with at any given moment. I think she tends to try to see the best in people, unless they've really given her every reason to not. So, something to keep in mind for if she ever doesn't really trust anyone or see them in a favorable way. There you go. Okay, let's see. What else? Oh, I think I maybe jumped ahead a little bit unintentionally, so let me just scroll back because I don't want to miss anything. Dang, y'all ask a lot of questions. I love it. I'm so glad to see this enthusiasm. It's so great to finally have this episode come out after all this time. I mean, usually it's like, oh my gosh, I wrote this episode like a month ago. Like, no, it's been like 3 years. So it is an utter relief to finally get it out into the world. Like, seriously, I can't even begin to tell you. So, yeah, no, this is just, it is truly a privilege to be able to finally get it out here. But yeah, let me see. Okay, so I'm almost back, I think, to where I was. What time was Pinky's question even asked? Oh my gosh, I have to scroll back so far. Okay, was it around here? I hope so. Dang. No, maybe it was further because people are asking questions repeatedly, which also makes it difficult. Sorry. We're almost back there. Maybe. We'll find out. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. There we go. Nope, that's not it either. Okay. Before that, too. Before that, too. All right. Nope. Before that as well. We can't miss any questions. All right. We're going to have to go through these faster because otherwise we're never going to get through everything here. Oh, gosh. That's crazy how you could just lose your place so easily. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. Oh, wow. Okay, I will say, if you have asked a question, try to just ask it the once. Please. If you can. If you can help it. Because I'll see it, and then what will just end up happening is I'll just end up continuing to scroll past it. And very often by then I'll have already answered it. So just keep that in mind. Gee whiz, I'm still not there? Come on. Okay, was this it? Nope. Nope. How about this? Nope. Nope. What in the world happened? How could it be this far back? Is it here? Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm back. I'm back. All right. Okay. Um. Probably our last question. Was Taka briefly in Purgatory Mansion until she got recovered? No, she was not. That is not how it works. Yeah, pretty cut and dry answer there. Nicholas the Animator. I love seeing the episode of the tour. Had lots of fun going to watch these episodes and getting the merch. Brian, a real OG. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I'm so glad you enjoyed. Let's see. It says Almost Where the Heart Is was so good. I feel like those two episodes really reflect each other. I'm so glad to hear you say that. Yeah, I mean, it's the two halves of Paintbrush and Lightbulb kind of coming together. So I think that really makes sense. Cupidity. Question: How do you guys have the idea for the Truth or Flare challenge? It's probably one of my favorite challenges so far, so I'd love to hear more about it. Yeah, I mean, I think it just came from me trying to reverse engineer an idea that would force all of the characters to go against the reality show construct, which usually a reality show kind of asks you to shove down the true version of yourself in favor of the version that will win. We've seen our characters do that time and time again. So that would be very interesting for the reality show to force them to be truthful. And for the version in which the version of the reality show in which they're forced to be truthful, it's being commandeered by someone that is against the reality show for how false it makes you act and how it turns your friends against you. Okay, let's see what else. Let's see. Still looking. Looking. This is a good question from Vixelation. Between the season 3 and season 2 debuters, which ones would you personally like to see interact? Oh, that's fun. Knife and Silver Spoon having a conversation, I think, would be really enjoyable. I think Silver Spoon would expect Knife to respect him way more than he actually would. It's just, yeah, two Justin voices talking to each other, I think would be very, very fun. Tiny Turquoise Me. What was Steve Cobbs calling MePhone about at the end of the episode? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. From Jaden Fluff. If you could pick any character to win I2, who would it be? You already asked this question, Jaden. Obviously, I already told you my answer. Okay, got it. All right, great. Let's see. Screechy Orb Kitty. Will there be a Silver Spoon Plus? If not, why? I think there's definitely demand for a Silver Spoon Plus, or is there? I mean, let me know. Do you want a Silver Spoon Plus? Do the people demand it? Let's find out. Van says, fan canonically a Swiftie. I remember hearing something about it from Meetup a while ago. Sure, yes. I mean, I don't know if any one from our world necessarily canonically truly exists in Inanimate Insanity, but for the sake of that being a really funny and cool question, yes. Why not? Oh, from Fuzzy. The window scene killed me. And I mean this as a compliment, like that as a testament. How good y'all are at writing and making me sob. Thank you. Yeah, so that's, I'm assuming you're referring to the scene at the very end of the episode when Taco says that she will not hide anymore. Yeah, I mean, just a nice full circle moment to bookend the episode of that's somewhere that she wasn't willing to give more than a passing longing look at the beginning, and now she'll maybe actually do something. B-Man, will you ever see more of Cabby's library and the people still on the island? Perhaps at some point. But the people still on the island, I assume you're referring to the Paradise Island, the season 3 island. Yeah, perhaps at some point. Can't necessarily say when or where or how or what. But yeah. From Tapeworm, so MePhone is the only one in the world with Me Life. What does this mean for the rest of the world? Why are the in-universe viewers not scrambling to release this technology worldwide? Well, it's a very particular kind of technology that's maybe not easily replicable. So, it's not like if you just see someone with superpowers on TV, it's like, well, then we should all have superpowers. Like, it doesn't really work that way. So, there's something to keep in mind. From the Slob Ever, is there any character from season 1 who didn't make it to season 2 or 3 you would have liked to see in any of those seasons? Yes. What do you want me to name some? I want to see more paper. I want to see more soap. I want to see more like pepper or salt or trophy or yeah. There's a good amount. MEXC says, I would love to hear more about Knife and Suitcase's relationship. I love them so much. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, they were always, like I said, designed to be these diametrically opposed, like two sides of the coin type that would sort of twist and reflect onto each other in an interesting, surprising way. So, to me, they are bonded very closely. And I always find it interesting when there is a pairing that maybe doesn't present itself as immediately obvious in the narrative, but eventually it wraps around and you're like, oh, yeah, of course, those two. So that was always very, very exciting to me. Trying to Chris me. What was Steve Cobbs calling MePhone about at the end of the episode? Was it about toilet? Stay tuned. From K1TSO. What's your favorite thing to do when writing ups? Do you like writing twists, character relationships, dialogue? Outlining is definitely really fun. I feel like dialogue. I mean, I think that's pretty evident when it comes to my scripts, especially this one. It's very dialogue heavy, dialogue driven. Just fun to write dialogue. It's fun to write a line that no other character would say and have them say it. So, yeah, that's great. Let's see. Omen Mao 360. Have we seen the last of MePhone X? Sorry if this is a spoiler question. It is not a spoiler question, and you have not seen the last of MePhone X. Okay. What else? From Nami. Well, the finale seems to have many similarities to the past two finales from season 1 and 3. I don't know. I feel like it'll be similar in the sort of surface level ways that it would be bound to be similar. But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. Without more specific attributes, I'm not sure how much I could really comment on that. And if there were more specific attributes, I probably definitely couldn't comment on it, actually. So yeah. Probably Taco is so antagonist, not villain core. Yes, there's a big difference between antagonist and villain. We learned that in story structure school. From XGLP. Hi, I'm not sure if this Q&A is episode 15 exclusive, but what character would be the most likely to win Neon Genesis Evangelion? I'm definitely not the person to answer this question. I don't know a thing about Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm not even entirely sure how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm just going to say fan, because that seems to make the most sense. He would know about it, right? He would know all the deep lore, whatever. So yeah, he's the most likely to. But yeah, at some point I'll watch it, and I can come back to you with an updated answer. Spark Rizzle, what have you thought of the reaction to the episode? Have people been picking up what you wanted them to? Yes, I think they definitely have. I've wanted them to, kind of hone in on Knife and Suitcase's relationship, see what was there all along, appreciate what's going on with Taco and Meepad. And for the people who really were hoping to see more from whether it was Lightbulb or Baseball, I was hoping that they would still be like, well, even though they didn't continue further into the competition, I'm very pleased with where their characters are at this point. And that's very much what happened. And I would even hear that in the screenings where it'd be like, Lightbulb gets out and everyone goes, oh, no! And then when they see her with Paintbrush, her and them together at the end, they'll be like, okay, yay. And then they'd be cheering by the end. And I would turn to the guys and be like, hey, there we go. That's a turnaround. So that was always really nice. Object Nora, do you think Mike should have gone back to Taco? When and why? I think Microphone was completely justified to leave her, enhancing the plan. Perhaps would have even been justified to do so sooner than that. But it's really up to what she wants and what she's comfortable with, and she set a boundary, and we stand. From Sword Heart Studios, great to see you here. Love the reaction videos from you. How did it feel coming back to I2 after the end of Invitational? Very weird. It was like coming home, so to speak. But again, it never really left, because I had written the script a while before. And I'm actually really glad that I did, because I think that helped preserve season 2, like in ember, so to speak. So it was not like, I wanted to resist any impulse to make it be like, oh, well, let's try to change things up of how maybe it would have been approached otherwise. Like, no, there's still storytelling lessons to be learned, but I don't want it to be affected by a season 3 house style or anything. It needed to be just what season 2 episode 15 specifically needed to be. From Matthew TOSG, were there any scenes that were scrapped while writing this episode? Yes, definitely some. I think there was a desire for a post-credit type scene for a bit, but I definitely can't talk about that at this point in time. Not for a while, probably. I think even there was a point where Taco, this was years ago, where Taco took Knife away after so it was in between the scene at the beginning when they're kind of going through Test Tube's old inventions and the beginning of the challenge. Taco somehow takes Knife away to the abandoned Indianic island or something, and to threaten him or blackmail him of don't say anything about what's going on, or maybe she feels threatened by him in some way. I don't fully remember. I would have to go digging for it, but I remember it was a really cool idea and a cool set piece, but it just really hurt the pacing. It was we need to get moving on this. This scene isn't really serving anything. So yeah, I think that was in this episode years ago, but again, it was such a long time ago, it's hard to even really fully remember. Charge or block. What are the I character's worst fears, and which character's fear do you relate to the most? Hi, Brian. I asked you to say you can't fight the Homestuck. Oh, yeah. I remember having to say that. It's a really good question. I mean, I think most of the characters' fears would boil down to, or at least within the final four. I haven't really thought about this before, but I feel like a lot of them would relate to this idea of like not being needed anymore for whatever purpose it is that they feel that they serve within their little community. And that's a fear I definitely relate to. I think we all can. From Roxy, favorite MePhone 4 scene. Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably his scene with ballpoint pen, an out of body experience, when he's like, the bridge, isn't this what you like? It's fun. It's a really good learning moment for him, and it leads right into well, actually, it leads right out of when he's like, all right, bot, don't worry, I'm not going to make you compete right now. I'm not going to make you go back out there. I'm just going to wrap this up, even though ballpoint pen's opinion means so much to him. It's just a great scene all around, both dramatically, emotionally, and comedically. You know, all of the leads. Okay, let's see. Okay, seeing a lot of repeats. Repeated questions. Repeated questions. Orphans Deluxe. If Paintbrush didn't show up, did you have anyone else in mind? No. It had to be Paintbrush. If it wasn't going to be Paintbrush, then we probably just shouldn't do that story. The whole point is that it's Paintbrush. Yeah, in my opinion. Okay, let's see what else. From Spark Rizzle, thank you for the donation. I'm proud of you and your work. I'm so excited to see what's being cooked up. Any dropped plot points for this episode? Ooh, drop plot points. Let's see. I know there was some stuff pitched, not by me. There was some stuff pitched that involved Taco being more overtly villainous. Like maybe she would bring back some other contestants and have them in some precarious situation where it was like, oh, they're being lowered into a thing where they're gonna die if you don't do this in time. And I was like, that's not really the vibe. I don't think that's where she's at. So that didn't really make much sense to me. I also, this isn't really a drop plot point, but in light of season 3, there was one scene that was softened a bit. And that was the scene when it comes down to if Taco is going to be revived by MePhone or not. It was something MePhone was more adamantly against it at first. But in light of the season 3 development, I scaled it back, link up some more, and have it be more like, well, she wants to end the show. Let's make sure we can do this safely. Because for MePhone, it's very important. He gave up so much to be back here and to come and finish what he started. And now Taco's not going to let him finish it. No, he has to finish it. So it was more seeing it through that end. Whereas at first, I think MePhone was more adamantly like, I'm not going to do it. Instead of it, like, you are bringing her back, right? MePhone, when he goes, of course. At one point, it was like, shoot yourself or whatever, or like you're lost. Maybe he was even then that he said you're lost or something like that, you know. It was like, or I warned you, you know, or he's just really like, Taco is dangerous. I don't want to do this. It was a very different attitude. Very, very different. Let's see, what else? What else? Sizzleite, Marvin. What was MePhone going to ask the contestants before being interrupted? Huh. What was he going to ask them before being interrupted? I'm trying to key in on which moment you're referring to. It's probably obvious, and I'm just not thinking of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm stupidly not figuring out what it is. Oh, no, no, because at the end he's not asking a question. He's just saying see you all next time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm drawing a blank. If either you follow up or I realize it, then I'll answer. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, let's see. Bomb, are we going to see Marsh again? We've definitely been holding off on seeing Marshmallow again for a long time, but that does not mean that we will never see her again. We will see her again at some point. From Vincent, was Meepet's parts meant to sound like puns? For example, I personally heard him say, let us taco about it, or even let us taco about it. I mean, I think it is obviously intentional on the part of Ben, the lyric writer. For Meepat, I don't think he was trying to be punny. I think if anything, he would be like, oh, I did not mean to institute such amusing wordplay, for it is a serious situation. But thank you for noticing. What else? What else? So many repeats. Hmm. Bobby Ralph. Hey, Brian, what's the inspo for the episode's challenge? Well, I briefly mentioned this earlier, but definitely this idea of like Survivor, the tiebreaker fire making challenge type thing. I always really enjoyed those. I'm glad they've turned them into a more definitive thing than just something that happens every once in a blue moon, because I always thought they were cool. But also the idea of like a truth or dare game, and that added element of the lie detectors. You can often trace my influences back to some sort of episode of Community, because there's a great episode, Cooperative Polygraphy, from season 5, which is a lie detector based episode. So that obviously was another influence. If there's any story that exists, there's a good chance that Community did it and did it really well. So you can always go to Community for an influence as far as I'm concerned. From Lilypad, you feel like you guys have dug yourselves a hole you can't escape, so you're using leaps and logic as a desperate attempt to get out. Dang, all right. Tell us how you really feel. Just in general, or like have we ever felt this way? Because for me, if anything, if I have to like work my way backwards, I'm like, okay, there's this thing that was written that doesn't really make sense by like a teenager in the early 2010s. And it's not even me. It's like Adam wrote it or something, and I have to be like, okay, how can I make it make sense? I mean, I enjoy the challenge personally. I think that's cool and fun. So I don't think it's ever like, oh, we can't escape. I think it's just like, oh, it's an exciting challenge to be able to try to do that. But if you feel like we've dug a hole too deep, then that is your opinion. Next Chuck says, I always love Knight because he's brutal and fierce, but acts like he's all big and smart and philosophical. I really love how the episode brings that up and kind of sweeps his ego off his feet. Yeah. When Taco's like, enough of the pseudo-intellectual wit. And Knife's even like, oh, a misprojector, because like everything that she says about him there could kind of be ascribed to her as well, which I think is super interesting. Sea Light. Hey, hi, Brian. Just want to start off by saying that episode 15 left me on edge. Taco and Balloon have their moment as two of the most misunderstood contestants in the show. They definitely are both fairly misunderstood. I think a lot of characters are misunderstood. It's hard to necessarily say who is number 1 or number 2. But they're up there. I think you're right to put them high up there. From Buxney, why was Lightbulb so fond of Paintbrush even before they really became close? I think Lightbulb always just admired and appreciated Paintbrush's tenacity, curiosity, persistence, they're just admirable qualities. And Paintbrush was always someone that was willing and eager to lead. and amicable to a point, then it's like, well, don't step on what I'm trying to accomplish here, which Lightbulb unfortunately would often do. Quig, about Lightbulb, can you talk about how you view her character development and how you decide on this conclusion for her story? Sure. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was very much about, for Lightbulb, her conclusion is not winning $1 million. I don't think she really cares about winning this competition. She's much more socially minded. She wanted to do that just for the sake of her friends, because she felt, wow, I mean, for them to have gotten out is so unfair, but it will be especially all for naught if, like, I can't even win in their place, especially Paintbrush's place. So for her to kind of realize, oh, I don't need to do that. It was sort of beautiful. And even though Lightbulb is eliminated, the first of the 4 eliminated in this episode, I think she's definitely the one that's the best off, just like in the highest spirits at the end, which is something of a testament to what Taco says of like, yeah, get out now while you still can, while you could still preserve your relationships. Lightbulb does, and it seems like she's all the better for it. So something to keep in mind. From Uzi, #1 fan. When Taco starts panicking about who was called, is it because he thought it would be MePhone or Pickle? Yep. Exactly. Exactly. From Roxy, what questions did MePhone plan to ask the contestants? Oh, maybe this is what that other person was trying to ask before, in terms of like what was MePhone planning to do for Truth or Flare before Taco stepped in. That's a really good question. I feel like his would have been more like petty things of like, who ate the last hot dog, like type stuff, or it's just like dumb. Because I don't know if MePhone necessarily has the emotional intelligence or awareness to have asked questions anywhere near on the psychological level of what Taco asked. Leapad says it was the rising action. Get your terms correct. What was I even talking about? Like an hour ago? I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Question. This isn't really I-15 related, but an invitational. MePhone kind of hints his 3 top favorite contestants were Bot, Balloon, and Yin Yang. Can I ask why those are his favorites? That's one of my favorite gags in the show, honestly, when it was like, you listen, Yin Yang, you're great. Probably my second favorite contestant still here. And then he gets called out. Like, why would you say second favorite? It just makes nobody happy. My second best friend has a point. We'll be taking 3 and 7's feedback into account now on with the votes. I mean, I think above all, just that exchange was really funny. But I mean, I think it just really makes sense because their relationship developed so much. I think he felt very protective and caring towards Bot, and they had a kinship as a machine-like, machines. Balloon, I think he respected the personal growth. I think he respected that Balloon was an OG. And Yin Yang, I think MePhone just thinks they're funny. The destructive tendencies, the clash. MePhone enjoys in general reality shows like a clashing of different personalities. Yin Yang is the perfect embodiment of that. So I think those make sense as top favorites for the MePhonester. What else have I not answered already? Nami, will toilet ever be mentioned or appear again? Whose toilet? Oh, Justin responded saying that we spent a good month or so in late 2020 talking about doing a giant obstacle course with battle platforms, contestant face-offs. Yes, that's right. The obstacle course element. Yeah, I was never super attached to that personally. I felt like it was more just kind of, busy physical activity than anything else. I'm always going to be the one more for they should just stand there and talk than an action scene. So, and that's for better or for worse. That's just my sensibilities. From Smiley. I-15 was amazing. You and the crew did amazing. It's generally a masterpiece. I'm so excited to see where the finale goes. Yes, I mean, it's a massive team effort on the part of the extremely talented crew. And yeah, I know seeing some storyboards and animations come in for the finale, I'm already just so pumped up for everybody to see it. For even me to be able to just see it in a more finished form. I can't wait. From Puppy Rob, what inspired you to make Taco die in the episode in that way? Well, I think a lot of people have correctly ascertained that it's meant to be a very literal manifestation of the idea of a breakdown, right? Like, I mean, she had cracked, and we knew that crack was forming for a while. And yeah, she kind of has this thing of like, she says earlier in the episode, when Meephead's like, you need regeneration, and Taco's like, unfortunately, I don't have much faith in that process. The reason she says that is because she's worried that if she were to die, that MePhone would not bring her back. Which Meepad, I think, at that point in time assumes, well, of course MePhone would bring you back. Like, no doubt in his mind. But also, I think he sees on a deeper level, it's like, well, you don't think you can come back because you feel that you're incapable of starting over in more ways than one. But when then Taco does, in fact, actually die, and then MePhone doesn't bring her back, I think that is, pun intended, I suppose, a true breaking point for Meepad as well. Because he's like, wait, MePhone didn't just bring... I didn't think that was even... like a question. And that really just, yeah, Meepad, like, I'm done after that. That's awful. Oof. Okay, let's see. From Asphodel, question: do you have any general idea for when I-16 comes out, or any info that you can give about I-16 in general? Love how you can see writing skills improve throughout the entirety of season 2. Yes, you can definitely tell it evolves over the course of like a decade or so. It will come out soon. It's certainly going to be nowhere near as long of a wait as it was for this 15th episode. It will be this year. You will see. It will be fairly soon. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Okay. What else? From Zephyr, can other characters die in the way Taco did, meaning basically falling apart, literally cracking under pressure? I mean, I think it depends on the kind of object they are. I think we technically saw Test Tube do it and let her rip, right? When it was like, oh, wait, if I was wrong about this, then perhaps everything I've studied has been false. And then, like, she combusts. So, yeah, I mean, I think we've canonically shown that the answer is yes. Enthusiastically, yes. Other people can crack under pressure, literally. Wow, isn't that so exciting? Isn't that amazing? Wow. From 24 is my favorite number. On the Kickstarter, it says if it reached a certain amount of money, then it would be 17 episodes. With the double elimination not happening in an episode or so, and how would the challenge work? I really don't know. We never had to think about that because we didn't make that money. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't have been a double elimination. I don't know. I mean, there has been a great deal more Inanimate Insanity than there would have been anyway back then. There wouldn't have been a whole additional season. So that's just a totally different timeline that we're talking about here. Oof. What else? So I'm gonna see. I kind of wanted Brian to answer it. I'm not sure what you were talking about, but hopefully I did answer it already. What else do we have here? Rocky, who was MePhone's favorite contestant from season 2? It's a really good question. I don't know if I've thought about that as much. Who did he like on season 2? Dang, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he really played favorites, which you really arguably shouldn't do. I think it was season 3 where he started getting more fast and loose with it because he was just like, I'm on vacation, whatever. I like you and you more. Season 2, I feel like he didn't really have them and still doesn't. Jaden Fluffer, you satisfied with the final 2? Would you pick anyone else if you could? I would not. this is my ideal final two, no question about it. I cannot imagine it any other way. There were perhaps desires for it to be another way, maybe even a final three by people who are no longer on the team. But I personally am very happy with this as the final two, and I think it just is what makes sense. I think it's great that it's a season 1 character and a season 2 character together. You know, and they sort of are opposites attract type deal. Always enjoyable. Keep getting these questions about toilet. I don't know who you're talking about. Galaxy S5. Have you ever gotten very emotional watching any parts of the show, even if you know what's about to happen? Oh, definitely. I mean, I think the song kind of repeatedly makes me emotional. Just enjoy. I mean, I think most of the big moments in the show, will get me there. All right, I'm thinking probably if you don't ask your question by like 3:40, I'll like cut it off there, probably, because otherwise I will be here forever. So get it in by 3:40 p.m. EST, so that's within the next like 3 minutes, and I'll try to answer. And please try to not repeat your question. Some of these I've literally just like I've answered it already, but I guess they hadn't seen me answer it yet. So they're just like, oh, over and over and over. Oh my gosh. Bounty Brownie, you know how to hook us. I'm looking forward to it being answered in the finale. I'm glad you are. Mooney Sloth, how did you decide to have Paintbrush come back for Lightbulb at the end of the episode? It just felt like it was what was most fitting to have a direct manifestation of like, it's easy to kind of push aside this idea of like, oh, I crave companionship when they aren't around, because the constructs of the game force you to be a certain way, right? So for Paintbrush to kind of go against the constructs of the game was really exciting. And this really was what I was looking to allude to a certain extent, when Paintbrush has that moment in hatching the plan where it's like, but Fan, we can't just leave, can we? So Paintbrush, yeah, just leaves the hotel and goes back to the contestant grounds and interacts with the challenge. I was like, that's probably not something they're supposed to do, but like, what can't they? Why can't they? Fan showed that they can. It's possible. Don't let yourself be limited by what the reality show makes you feel like you have to be doing. So yeah, I think Paintbrush showing up is both a great way to show, hey, let's fight against the confines of the reality show, but also just it was what was necessary for Lightbulb story arc. From Floor Phantoms, curious, will we see more of the Shimmers and possibly the second lost egg in the finale? Oh, good question. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think to confirm one way or the other, confirm or deny, would be a spoiler, but I'm glad to know you are still invested in that story. I didn't know if anyone necessarily still was, but yeah, I mean, you know, I think at the very least I could say that's certainly something that we put into the show intentionally. We would want to come back around to at some point, ideally speaking. Yeah. Okay. Oh, animation epic. Brian, what do you think is an interesting part of the production process that isn't commonly talked about or discussed? Great question, animation epic. Boy, there's a lot. I feel like I take for granted this because I just know all of it so intimately well, because I'm just an animation nerd. But background design is definitely one where I feel like people don't think about it as much, because I'm like, yeah, I think people know writing, I think people know animating, audio editing even, and like storyboarding. But like backgrounds are hugely important. Not just backgrounds, but also the compositing or finalizing, whatever you want to call it, where it's the melding of all these different elements together into a seamless whole. Creation of a musical score, I think, yeah, like the composer is another role. that should be more talked about, because I think people just kind of often will take for granted a musical element of a film or show, because they'll just sort of take that as like a piece of the whole thing and be like, yeah, well, that's, that's just an intangible thing. Like, no, that's a big part of why you're feeling what you're feeling when you watch something. So yeah, I think that's very significant. Yeah, I guess those would probably be, and you know what, editing as well, because that's another kind of invisible piece of the process. And oftentimes, if you just hold on a moment a little bit longer, or you cut really quickly from one thing to the next, it will either make a big difference dramatically or comedically. So yeah, they're kind of these invisible forces that you may not notice when you're watching something, but your brain did. To quote Mr. Plunkett. Who else? Who else? Tamara Kulov, will we ever hear more Spoiled Lemon songs other than A Party? What more could you want? The best song ever. No, I mean, do you want to hear more? Maybe we will. Maybe we will. Let's see what else. Roachroy Knife slayed this episode. I very much agree. Mothbug, are we going to see Steve Cobbs again? Yes. Nami, will Toilet ever be mentioned or appear again? Again, I don't know if this is a spam comment. I don't know who they're talking about. Who is Toilet? Fruitcakes. Hi, Brian. Will MePhone 3GS ever be mentioned again or have any relevance? You know what? I love when people ask questions like this, where it's like, this is a character that had a brief, like, one scene appearance in an episode, and there's like a fandom for the character. So like, well, I can't necessarily comment on whether or not they will have relevance once more. I'm happy to see that you still carry the torch for this character, and who knows what the future could hold. Nux on a similar subject, is there more to MePhone 3GS having a pixelated screen and MePhone 4 having a fully featured screen with normal looking eyes and a mouth? I mean, I think it's mainly just this idea of Cobb's obviously evolving the technology, and I think it also kind of comes down to this idea of a highly advanced emotion emulator that 4 has, that Cobb's mentioned 4 having. So screen having more capacity for emotion is in line with that. From Kawyus, is Taco going to confront Pickle in episode 16? Point blank. $2 if you answer me. I think an attempt will be made. That's all I could say. In terms of how far she will actually get, that remains to be seen. Probably roll, but I remember that Knife Even was originally going to be in the final 3 of season 1 back when it was contestant voting. Has its finalist rank been stewing that long? I guess so, although I think in many ways that was a very separate thing, because I think that's like an Adam idea from years ago. But yeah, in a sense, yeah, similar. Similar. I'm Ton. Does Taco stay in a specific area of the forest, or does he sleep in the nearest areas you can find? I think it's more the latter. I think she tries to avoid getting too attached to any one place or person. But she kind of failed at that latter part, as we all saw. He had a very public breakdown. Sad to see. Oh, Angelic, you got the call back to episode 7. Yes, this must have been about random act of kindness. I'm really glad to hear that, Angelic. You're an OG. Thank you. Thank you for paying attention. Knowing the show so well. Oh my gosh. I feel like if I answered a question, I should have an option where I could just delete all future instances of the question. Stop asking it. You in the past? Stop it. Yeah, other people saying they only just picked up on the other day about the random act of kindness when they watch Everything's AOJ again. Well, I'm glad you're picking up on it now. Now when people watch so from beginning to end, it'll be a little bit easier to notice. So, hi, it's me again. I really like the rework you guys made for the OJ Hotel. How long did it take to rework it or even plan the rework? I mean, yeah, that really comes down to the design team. Another, that's another part of the production process that I feel like deserves some more credit. Designs like props and such like that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it didn't take more than like a week. I feel like even that is more than needs to be said. Yeah, not a part of the process that I watch as closely. Because it's just not as much someone that would be able to give much in the way of advice beyond just ensuring that it stayed true to like the more general things that I'm looking to accomplish. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it took probably about a week, I want to say. I feel like that was about right. Um, hmm. I mean, actually, can Taco still spit lemons? This is a good question because like Taco says that she's out of lemons in season 1, but then in the season 1 finale, OJ shoots another lemon from her. So was Taco lying about that? Did she ever lose lemons? Like, what's the deal? I don't know. It's a good question. Hmm. From Lego, how do you exactly think the whole Taco event in I-15 affected Knife's character development? I think it made him realize that there are certain things that will come back around to him. He's not invincible, He had that whole thing with Microphone and Taco, and he thought maybe he could put it to bed when Microphone left. But as Microphone warned him way back when in Hatching the Plan, it was like, Taco's still out there. Watch yourself. And Knife, I think, took it somewhat seriously. And he was a little bit paranoid, even just seeing the Invisible again. And he wanted to, smash it first chance he got. And he wanted people not think about distractions, not think too much about any forces outside of the game. I think that's very much motivated by this idea of, what if Taco comes back? And then sure enough, kind of his worst fear comes true. I guess maybe this is Knife's worst fear, so to speak, Taco coming back. Because for him, I think maybe in his mind, that's like the one thing that he felt really stood in the way between him and a chance at being in the finals. If people were to find out about that. Yes, yes. Knife competition-wise would win, but also Suitcase has been through so much story-wise. She would deserve it too from Puppy Well. Yeah, interesting perspective. Interesting perspective. Hmm. Dang, there are so many questions per minute, but so many of these are just repeat questions. Don't ask repeat questions. Don't make me turn on slow mode. Don't make me do it. Next trucks. Does the wire toilet put into MePhone and theft and battery do anything? Yes. All in Mal 360. Have we seen the last of MePhone X? No. Melton Hang. Has Taco ever thought about confronting a different contestant before turning on MePen's conscience as a way to cope with Microphone's absence? Obviously there wasn't really much time, and she's just still had MePad, right immediately following Microphone leaving. So I don't think she had the opportunity to consider confronting somebody else. I think there was a point in which we were going to do a story about Taco and Lightbulb, maybe, which would have been fun. But again, that was years ago, and the details are really fuzzy on that. If Justin's still in the chat, I feel like he would probably remember that a little bit better than me. But that would have been a fun little story. Or at least an AU. The fun AU. Quig, who are Lightbulb and Baseball rooming with? Good question. Yeah, I don't know how solidified it really is, especially at this point in time when it's so late into the competition. Not like you can only room in Hotel OJ for the duration of the competition, but I just don't know if it's been decided. Yeah, I feel like it may even be with each other. Yeah, honestly, it hasn't been formally decided yet. So this is something that could be changed, but I will say you'll definitely see more of Lightbulb and Baseball interacting with each other. That much I can say with certainty. Who are you rooting for from the final two? Also, hi, bro. I know it's really great meeting you on the BFTII meetup. Oh, thanks, Xander. Yeah, in terms of who I'm rooting for, it's definitely... Okay, yeah, I think so. Yeah. What else? Ray the Fool. Are the viewers from season 3 still stuck on the island? MePhone just kind of dip and leave them there. I mean, he did tell Walkie, watch over them for me. So. From Myastic, thank you for the donation. Do you have any plans for I after season 2? Also, hope you're doing great. Smiley face emoji, taco emoji. Yeah, I mean, as I've said recently, I think any form that I would take after this would have to be something that would be different, because season 2 is the culmination of an over decade-long story that was being told. So if there is anything to come after, it would be, very much a new chapter, a fresh book, clean slate, so to speak. But, cannot confirm or deny anything at this time. Oh, geez. Is this when I was muted? Oh, man. This is how far back I am in the chat. Yikes. The cameras from season 3 got them. That's so funny. From Ollie Origami, will the contents of the letters Taco wrote to Pickle ever be revealed, or is it going to stay a mystery? Additionally, if she had to pick between Pickle and Microphone, who would she choose? Ooh. I don't know if we'll ever know the exact letters that were written, but I feel like we have a better sense of what was maybe contained within the letters than we ever did before. At this point in time. Picking between Pickle and Microphone, that's cruel. I don't know. I don't think she would be able to answer that question. I think even Taco would have the emotional intelligence to know, well, that sounds like a trap. I will not entertain that question with an answer. Now pick your favorite friend. As MePhone says. MePhone says, pick your favorite friend. Oh, man. I215 related, but what do you think of BFDI and II fan fictions? Cool. I think fan works in general are a cool, happy, awesome thing. You do it. From DCA Studios. Brian Koch, when will you start working on episode 16? Already did. From K1TSO, will we ever get extra content from the contestants in a non-competition environment again? The shorts, comics, and gaming sessions. I miss those. Yeah, I mean, those were really fun. We just don't have time anymore. because some of us are working full time, and we're also, making episodes way more frequently than we used to back when we were doing that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, but hopefully at some point. 40 Jump Man, it's actually so fitting that the meetup episode was about a Q&A. Yes, it was. It is so fitting. Oh my gosh, it's like I'm a genius or something. It's like I was just so smart putting this together. Oh my gosh. Wow, good for me. Yay. Hooray. Hooray. From MEXE, why is Knife so nice to Suitcase compared to the others? I think he appreciates when someone is just real with him and when they're not, doing all this dumb stuff that irritates him. Suitcase doesn't do that. MePhone doesn't do that, or at least he didn't do it after then he found out her secret about Taco. Then it was like, okay, she's just kind of vulnerable and honest. Lightbulb even kind of picks someone. You like to talk to people when they're vulnerable, don't you? Except in this episode. I'm like, yeah. I think, I don't know if it's just like, one could call it pity, or one could maybe just say like, oh, I don't know. He just sees them as like, they're genuine. They're genuine in a way that cuts through everyone else's nonsense. Knife doesn't like nonsense. Who does, really? From Echo, will the I2 recap song be released soon or after the season ends? We already released it. It's out. Go watch it. It's on the channel. It's called Full Recap Song, Inanimate Insanity Season 2. Enjoy. Enjoy! Yes, it was shown at the meetup, and now it is shown on YouTube. Brownie Brownie says, the stakes. Consider them raised! Yes. Woo! From Elio. Can't wait to see you from Pixar. Potential Knife and Suitcase duet, please. Prayer emoji. Yeah, I don't know when it comes to the characters actually singing. It's funny because I had like something of a spiritual duet between the two of them that was written in like, again, 2013. This song was in my head. I don't know if there's really a place for it anymore in the narrative. It's probably something that I'll still maybe put together a release or throw something out there. But yeah, I don't know if it'll end up in the actual show. But yeah, it was not going to be the characters themselves singing it. It'll be more of like a this is what's going on in their head type thing. I'll repeat questions. Repeat. You know what? If you keep asking this question, I'm going to unanswer it from earlier when I answered it. Rewind. It's rewind time. Okay. Dang. From DCI Studios. Question: when will episode 16 start production? It already did. It already did. It already did. It's in production. Get ready. Dang. Oh, I said I would go through to Questions asked up till 340. I'm in like the 248s right now. Yikes. All right, let's pick up the pace. I'm going to just scroll faster and faster. Oh, Daisy, do you have any characters that might appear more in the future and get more character development such story? I'd love to see Bomb more, since he's one of my faves. Yeah, no, I mean, I think you may even see some of these characters pop up in the end of season 2. So you can look forward to that. From your average noob, was Soap the reason I to switch to contestant voting? Definitely a big part of it. Soap should have been around longer. Soap's great. We stand. We love Soap. Were there ever from Veltahang? Were there ever any discussions towards episode 15's challenge being revolved around Meatpad's disappearance? And if so, did MePhone develop guilty content around the whole ordeal? Well, it's funny you say Meatpad's disappearance, because I think just as well you could say, well, why couldn't it be about MePhone's disappearance? He's been gone so long. I think some people assume that episode 15 would be about them being like, MePhone, where have you been? And I think if it was about that, it would rob the impact of finally getting to see the next episode of season 2. If the whole thing just becomes overshadowed by, where have you been, MePhone? And then it's like, well, everything else that was kind of building is sort of put to the side in favor of that. So I didn't want that to be the case, which is part of why we approached it in the way we did, where it's like, yeah, if you just watched episode 14 and then jumped to episode 15 and didn't even watch season 3, it would make sense and feel cohesive. And it should. But if you did watch season 3, there are certain things that you're going to pick up on, that you're going to benefit from knowing about. Especially as we continue forward. You'll see what I mean soon enough. Dang, still just in 249. I'm exhausted, y'all. Okay. All right, 250, 250. See, like, question, why is Meatbad so keen on helping Taco face her past and get the people she lost in her life back? Meatbad wants to help all the contestants. He really cares about them. He's a very caring guy. Just because Taco's going through a rough time doesn't mean that he is going to not try to help her. Guy is a helper. It's what he's got down in his bones. His mechanical bones. Yeah. Eddie Cakes, hi Brian, I saw you at Animal Kingdom. Oh, hey, yes. Oh, you're the person that ran up to me. Oh, with the fan shirt, the custom-made fan shirt. I'm assuming that was you. Yes, hello. This person was awesome. They ran up at Animal Kingdom. They had a line that was fans' first line from season 2, the custom-made shirt. It was really, really cool. Okay. So they said, I want to ask for the meetup, but didn't get the chance to. I was wondering if we'll ever get more info about MePhone's backstory besides just his memories. Yes, we will get more insight into the backstory behind MePhone. Again, perhaps not quite in the way that you think, but more backstory about him. Yes, or at least that pertains to him. You'll see what I mean soon enough. From Cowius. Is Taco trying to confront Pickle in episode 16? People keep asking. Or maybe you specifically asked this already. To which I said there will be an attempt made. That's all I can say for now. That's all I can say. That's it. That is it. Fruitcakes. Does MePhone still feel any guilt about 3DS? Or still remember them? Well, I think he had forgotten about them until the Gemeries were restored. in episode 13 of season 2. But since they have been restored, he definitely does remember them. I think there's some guilt, but it's perhaps not front of mind just because there's been a lot going on. I don't know if it's necessarily even guilt as more it is horror. I think, as someone who was running away from his own abuse, it's not like he really felt guilt. It was more just like it was a sign of horror of, oh, this could be what could happen to me. You know what I mean? He did save me, Pad. That much he did do. That was pretty impressive that he was able to get that accomplished. What kind of music Mike listen to? Like rock, heavy metal type stuff. Cutie Sailor Lovely was in the New York City 11 a.m. meetup. Wanted to ask, but couldn't, so I'll ask this. Why did cops call MePhone for? Spoiler question. He has his reasons. We will get them soon. You must wait even more. Well, days. Hello, I know this is random, but does Mom have speaking problems? This might be me projecting. Since I used to go to speech therapy, but has he ever been to speech therapy? He's one of my faves. Yeah, I mean, I think he certainly does have that stutter. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a part of who he is. Speech therapy would be a good idea for him. Spark, any thoughts on Soap? She's the best. We stan. She's great. Can do no wrong, even though she often did wrong. Yeah. Yeah. What else? Dang. Apologies if I sound a bit under the weather. It's because I perhaps am a bit. Allergies or what, just sort of where I'm at right now. But I figured, instead of taking a nap, let me get back to the community. Who needs a nap? I'll probably take one right after this. Okay, come on. What else we got? What else? I know there's more. Brooklyn live stream. I love Doe and Silver Spoon. Can you do your best Doe impression? Hi guys, I'm Doe. Yeah. Bears are like so totally awesome. I'm trying to be as well liked as my sister. So I'm doing everything that she does. I think it'll work out great. Why are you looking at me like that? Is it because I'm really funny? Yeah, Doe is fun. Cupidity, drop the mic is so foul. Oh yeah, it's an idea for a Taco Tirade title. Alternate title. Yeah. Lily Pad, what would you have done, or what should you have done if Mike was eliminated early by the viewers? Who would have been Taco's bridge, so to speak? I wonder if Taco even would have had one. I don't know. Yeah, maybe light bulb. I don't know. That's tough. Fairy Dreamer, will fun for us ever be mentioned again? If you don't want to answer that, then do you have any fun facts about For Us? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could say whether or not he will come up again. But in terms of fun facts about him, I think he likes oatmeal raisin. I think he doesn't mind that it's bad for the environment because the thing is he doesn't live in the environment anymore anyway. Because he's gone. So what does it matter if the environment goes away as well? I'm away. So what am I protecting? Something about myself? Oh, the world. I care about the world now. Now! Now. Ridiculous. Next question. Immediately. Thanks, MePhone Press. Shut up! I said thanks. And I said shut up! Fair enough. Okay. My goodness, there are so many repeat questions. But I repeat this to you to stop repeating your question. He probably already answered it. Now you're just making him read it again and again for no reason. Why would you make him do such a thing? Are you crazy? What is your problem? Which wizard are we allowed to ask a question related to invitational? If so, could I ask for any fun fact about Dr. Fizz, whether that be his creation or something silly in general? He's my fave character. You are allowed. And I think Dr. Fizz is part of my favorite video we've done on the channel. It's not an episode. I think it's probably my favorite video. The box exit interview. The Fister is so funny. I mean, yeah, Morgan's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I think as we saw in that video, he maybe has some Dungeons and Dragons experience in his youth. I like to think in general that just kind of expanded to like role playing, like, improv. Like he was in improv comedy. And he was about as good at it as you would expect. Which is say not very good. He was a little bit too literal for it. We'll get very frustrated when people wouldn't be on his level. Or they wouldn't get some, really obtuse and intellectual pop culture reference. He would incorporate that into his act, and people would be like, "What?" He'd be like, "You imbeciles! How do you not know?" So I was going to ask this the Q&A, but it ended before I was able to ask it. Will the future of I follow the cuter, brighter I3 art style or the really good I2 art style? Will it follow the I3 art style or the really good I2 art style? Okay, so you seem to have a preference. I think much like David S. Pumpkins, it would be its own thing. Exactly. Yeah. To find itself in its own way. Individual person. Will MePhone X have voice lines? Didn't have them before. Why start now? Jack, do you guys think that we saw you last night likely meant that the Final Four saw MePhone X instead of MePhone 4? Yes, I have seen this theory emerging, which I think is a very clever theory. It's an inaccurate one. It's wrong. Is incorrect. But I like the theory. It's clever. It was clever. Clever, clever, clever. Budge, will fan Suitcase interact again in the future? It would be nice to see them together. I think they will have one other interaction at some point, even if it is very, very brief. Very brief. There'll probably be something. Will OJ make a reappearance in I-216? Yes. Yes, he will. Roxy, what's your opinion on MePhone and MePad dynamic? MePad leaving may be so ill. Oh, yes. It's a great dynamic, because MePhone obviously kind of looks up to MePad, even though he was the one to save MePad. MePad is sort of a mentor, MePhone was the one previously who was like, hey, MePad, listen, we got to take this seriously. We got to go to space, save the contestants. Their lives in danger. But now Meepet is the one who's really like, hey, morals. So it's interesting how they've swapped. Taffy Optics. A little joke I have is that the next episode would have a content warning like Amphibia. Would you say the next episode could have content that warrants a warning? So for anyone who doesn't know, Amphibia, specifically the episode True Colors, aired with a disclaimer from the character Sprig having a voiceover saying that the episode had some intense final scenes and it may not be suitable for younger viewers, maybe too scary for younger viewers. Yeah, I think it's fair for the finale to have something like that, probably. It won't, because you're on the internet, the wild west of the web. So you should expect things like this. It's not Disney Channel, where it's all nice and safe. Oh, let's all wander through the meadow that is Disney Channel. No, here it's dun dun dun. That's our theme. And you don't have to go on a history mystery to discover where that theme came from. It came from the devil. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Okay. Probably will there ever be an international meetup? Hopefully. We want to keep expanding. That's the idea. That's the goal and the hope and the dream. The dream. Frizzle, hi Brian, you're so cool. Is Lightburst canon? Do you at least ship it? I mean, it's pretty clear that everyone ships it. I don't know why people think that it's like, well, the characters have to kiss. Otherwise, the relationship means nothing. That's not true. It's not true. Like, well, they're only canon if they put their mouths on each other. It's not true. I say it's not true. I don't like that. Whatever. Bell to hang. Has Taco ever thought about confronting a different contestant before turning on me? Oh, okay, yeah, we talked about this already. We talked about it already. Screechy, Orb Kitty. If an object is suffering mentally, can their shape deform to represent their mental situation? That's interesting. Again, I think it depends on which object it is. Goo, I feel like it's pretty easy. Yeah, some other characters maybe too, but like, yeah, I mean, those are a little bit more hard and fixed. It's probably would be difficult for that to happen. From Angelica, the finale is huge. Will the finale have an official soundtrack like OST tracks and our songs are sung by singers? Well, if they're singing, it probably will be sung by singers. It's not going to be sung by hummers. From Mini Wicklax, are the character types of the characters are given importance / integral to their character developments? Example, label being the bright leader. Of course. I mean, I think Taco even kind of plays into that in this episode when she steps into baseball. She's like the grand leader to the rescue. The show is very much about, hey, here are the initial surface level impressions that you have of these characters based on the objects that they are. And let's deconstruct that. Or maybe even break them down a little bit so they act differently once they're put into difficult situations. Trivia Tribe. Wrong question. After I answer, you guys plan on making season 4? You guys plan something different? The OC or completely unrelated? Yeah, I mean, I already touched on the idea of if there would potentially be more II after this. And the idea of something completely unrelated, is that something people would be interested in seeing? Please let me know if that's the case, and be honest. Because I think the fear about doing something totally different is that people will be like, oh yeah, well, we would watch that. And then you don't. And we're like, oh no, they didn't watch it. They didn't watch it. They lied. They lied. No. The sound of the channel exploding. Michael McCauley, I hate this channel. Well, good, because now it's exploding. Look out, Michael McCauley. Oh no, you didn't make it. Oh no. Everybody, Michael McCauley just exploded. There goes the comment. That exploded too. That was a sad situation. Yikes. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Oh, no. Kyle asks, can I eat my taco plushie? It's not edible. But, I mean, you can eat it, I guess. It's very advisable for you to not. It wasn't intended with that purpose. Once again, oh, here, when Animation Epic ever make anything outside of Inanimate Insanity like another show, would you let us? Would you accept it? Would you accept more epic animations from Animation Epic? Or must we be in OSCville forever? Forever! Forever! Okay. From Zoid Marvin, you mentioned that MePad has clearly begun feeling something for the contestants. Did Toilet have anything to do with this change as well? Of course. I mean, I think a big fundamental change for MePad started with during the Afterlife in the Limelight song, where MePad is tracking the contestants' progress. And it's like, just from a logical perspective, certainly receive what you provide. And Toilet kind of looks to MePhone, very nonchalantly says, not always. I think that keys MePad into this idea of, oh, I know I live in a world of logic, and logic implies, just from a logical perspective, you receive what you provide. But the world is not logical. The world is not just. And I think Toilet helped open his mind up to this concept. And Toilet, I think, is also a caring individual. Caring towards the contestants, certainly more so than MePhone has shown to be, unfortunately. I mean, Toilet cares so much for MePhone. We see how selfless that he is. So keep that in mind. Justin says, just be okay with missing things. Live in the present. Thanks, Justin, from years ago. Wait, from 3 o'clock? Oh, no. Okay, just keep scrolling along. Just keep scrolling along. Okay, I'm just going to scroll so quickly, because so many of these questions are repeated. People who are like, oh, I'm sorry I asked the same question 3 times. Oh, don't worry, that's not a problem. Maybe just don't ask the same question 30 times. Woo-wee. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Honeybees, hey Brian, Microphone is my favorite character in the series, so what's your opinion on her and her development? Love Microphone's development. I've talked a lot about how I really enjoyed the subversion of expectation with that character, that she was not a victim, played an active role, and when a line was crossed, she was like, I'm done, I'm out. I really got to respect the integrity of that. I certainly do. Suitcase, MePhone 4 seemed to act different in II when Bot and Paymars got eliminated. Did he feel connected to the two of them in any way, or was he just upset about the season coming to a close? Bot, he definitely was upset about on a more personal level. Paintbrush, I think it was more about the way it happened. MePhone was like, oh, well, I mean, look, it's such a great vacation. Paintbrush was like, yeah, no, it was a fun vacation, but I think I'm ready to go home. MePhone was very much not ready to go home. I think that is what really upset him about that moment. He likes Paintbrush, but I think, the reason he was so emotionally infected there is because of the other thing you said. Yeah, that it was bringing to mind the idea of the season coming to a close. Now, clearly, Paintbrush was capable of it, but, MePhone was ready. From Melon12, question: do you ever think about how far you've come? Like how you went from this joke show to a show that could genuinely be on Netflix. The character's so realistic in the show, it's amazing. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I don't think we would ever want to be on a streaming service, because what would happen is it would be like, hey, congratulations, here it is. We will put you on the streaming service. We will give you no promotion. It didn't get any views immediately. We were going to cancel the show. You also lost rights to the IP. It is our IP to sit on and do nothing with. Goodbye. And then that would be the end of Inanimate Insanity. Woo! Yay! Yay! Whoa! The sound of Inanimate Insanity exploding. Okay, Yin Yang, Dr. Fizz. Fan Suitcase's friendship is really cute to me. They should interact more. When they hung out and mind your own business, I thought they had an opportunity to become a cool duo. I agree. They're really fun. They're really cute. Both little dorks, dorky nerds, passionate little friends. From Crest58, will there be a special guest in the finale? More than one. If all lines up as according to plan, there will be at least 2 people that will appear in the finale that I am beyond psyched about having in the finale. Now, I have met them both in person. They have been like, yes, I am down. So it seems like it's happening. And yeah, I can't say who they are, but wow, I will be so thrilled for y'all to see them. I'm assuming at least some of you will recognize them. And if not, they are incredible. And I'm excited for you to get to learn of their talents. Okay, Sunset. Brian, I'm in Germany. I sadly can't go to BFGI tour, and I'm sad that I won't get some plushies, but I do homemade of some plushies with papers. I'm a big fan of you and all your characters. I love you. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that you couldn't go. Hopefully we'll be able to get more international with the events as they continue on. And I love the fact that you've done homemade plushies. Definitely post them on Twitter if you haven't already. Tag me, or tag me so I can see. I'd love to see them. Yay! Hooray. The old Enterprise. What do you and the crew plan on doing after you finish Inanimate Insanity 2? Will there be more exciting stuff to come afterwards? Yeah, we'll all get jobs at Baskin Robbins. Exciting! No, we'll all join corporate America. Yes, corporations! Yeah. That's the sound of our childhoods exploding. From Roenick, what was the best scene you wrote for this episode? You would have wrote for this. I assume that's what you mean. Would have wrote for this episode. Really good question. I think I'm most proud of Taco's monologue near the end when she's urging them all to leave. I seem to have gotten the most positive feedback about that too. People being like, "That's really good." Which a lot of that has to do with just again that incredible performance from Reagan, but still. About to hang. Was episode 15 written after season 3's finale, or was season 3's finale inspired by episode 15's premise? Because the episodes have glaring similarities. It piques my curiosity. Yeah, episode 15 was written long before season 3's finale. So there are some similarities. I did pick up on them. But I mean, I think the main similarities are just this idea of like, okay, the show is sort of out of MePhone's control. And there's this idea of questioning, I guess. Yeah. But these are surface level similarities. It's interesting because I haven't seen anyone else really talk about it. Maybe everyone's thought it and they've just kind of let it go unsaid. But I remember as the Invitational finale was coming out, I was like, oh, geez, is that a little too similar? And then everyone will think I ripped that off, even though I wrote it first. No. No, but it seems like they both have stood on their own and been strong. From Mikra, has there been any details on episode 15 nobody really noticed? we'd like to point out. Also, I'm so happy about the Taco Plus. I want to get her so bad that yes, the Taco Plus came out great. I think most details have been noticed. Yeah, I hadn't necessarily noticed anyone pick up on the random act of kindness callback directly before, so I wanted to point that out. Is there anything else? Yeah, I like that people have noticed that Lightbulb's pen has paintbrush its color scheme. That's cool. Um, anything people haven't noticed? Oh, the usage of the phrase "another chance." In Suitcase is like, I just thought Balloon deserved another chance. Platform races, and Taco has an interesting reaction to that choice of words before going, correct. Because the another chance, perhaps, the way that she said it in Alternate Reality Show when reaching towards the portal. The usage of that phrase just kind of hits her. I don't know if anyone's really directly talked about that. So that's one thing. There are many things, but that's one thing that came to mind first. From the LFC, has the winner for I been decided? And if it has, when did it get decided? Did it get decided all the way back since II-10? I've had a thought of who it should be. Then there were discussions back and forth about who it should be. It was something that was only more finalized on the more recent side of things. Yeah. From Angelic, how long ago did production on the multi-part finale begin? Within the last couple months. Let's see. Super Amy fan videos. Hey Brian, I'm working on an object show right now. I want to know if you have any writing tips. Also, can you please say hi to my best friend Epic? Hi to your best friend Epic. Writing tips. Combat the blank page. Just write a bunch of little notes. Little fun dialogue samples. Don't worry about having to write an episode from beginning to end. Just jump into a scene, have some fun, and then string some stuff together. You'll figure it out. You got this. Mr. Penguin Object Show. How long does it usually take to write an episode? A while. Depends how complicated. Like weeks. It's interesting because it'll be like several days of uninterrupted effort to write it, but in terms of working on it and conceptualizing and developing and jotting down notes and stuff, that process will take a long time. I've been jotting down notes for this season 2 finale for 10 years, so more than that. There you go. From Fox Flies Griffin, how do inanimates survive in the wild if they pop? I think there's a very simple answer to this question, and it's that they don't. They don't survive. From Liga, would Taco get the crack again? The design was so cool. I know it's for the story, but I really like her damaged sprite. Yeah, I think it came specifically from that injury. So, yeah, and it represented her at a very specific point in her emotional journey. So I don't think she would get it again unless she were to return to that point in her emotional journey. In the same way that Bot wouldn't wear that hat again that they wore in episode 8 of season 3, because they wore that to cover up their true self. Benny Block, how long was the story of season 2 planned in advance? One could say 10 years in advance, but yeah. Alex, why did Test Tube say that Paintbrush should answer the signal? In terms of the relationship between Lightbulb and Paintbrushes, they haven't spoken much since Paint Teeth Elimination. Yeah, this is also something that I'm surprised more people haven't talked about. I think Test Tube was just like, oh, Lightbulb's in trouble, and didn't really get into more detail about it with Paintbrush because she was just going to let it be surprised. But I was like, Test Tube was like, I think this is a chance for Lightbulb and Paintbrush to reconnect, and they need this. Hey, Paintbrush, there's an emergency signal. I won't tell you what it is. Go to it. Yeah. So I think she kind of masterminded them coming back together. People enjoy doing with that what you will. She's the true Lightbrush shipper. Yeah, that was the genuine thought that I had behind writing it. She's like, bring them back together. Lem, spoil one thing about episode 16. Parentheses, no major plot points. Oh, phew. Thank you for putting that qualification. Otherwise, I would have spoiled all the major plot points. Just all of them. Like, I would have really went to town. Okay, let's see. One thing about episode 16. Well, the first character to have a speaking line is a character that was not in Truth or Flare. How about that? Individual person. Oh, wait, hold on. Well, first, I'll say Brian from Izzy. Please restock fan plus. I'm fans number one fan. It's not really up to me. I don't have the stock, but sure. Cartoons. When are we getting the FLA files? Inanimate Insanity. Yeah, again, I don't really have them, but I'm all for it being released. Already talked about that. This is worse than like Nintendo Direct. I don't know what you mean by that, but sure. From fan 0102, I've heard that the next episode will be long enough to be a movie. Is this true? Yes. Yes, it is true. Yes, it is true. Okay, I think we're in about the last 10 or so minutes of this, y'all. There we go. From K1TSO, talking about Paintbrush, was that the scene you planned all those years ago when you said that Paintbrush arc wasn't over yet? This was about their scene when a fan is leaving for the... Yeah, yes, exactly. With Paintbrush, yeah, the whole thing of, like, it's not over yet, but we can't just leave, can we? Yeah, so Paintbrush just leaving the hotel came up. There it was. They were able to do it. Because they went to interact with the challenge. Oh, we did the eye plushes and other merch exist in the eye universe like how there's Survivor merch? I think probably not. Yeah, I think probably not. From TM. Can we get a single word of the I-216 transcript? Sure, yeah, I think the first spoken word is they. Yeah. Contact, why haven't you dwelled on college motivations yet? Because we're going to get them soon. Ha 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 ha. I like this question from Jay the Crier 777. Hey Brian, do you great question. 7. My lucky number always works. Cross 58. Will the finale be a movie? Yes. Multi-part movie. You'll see. From Antonic. Would you say Vapul saying what he did to Suitcase at the end was a means of protecting himself, but also realizing he hasn't made her anxiety better and generally not wanting to do it again? Yeah, it's sort of a mixture of things. I think it was well-intentioned. I don't think he was just trying to, take any heat off himself. I think in a certain way he was trying to, make sure that she wasn't hurt by what she said, but by what he said. But yeah, I mean, I think he also is trying to not, it's out of his own self-preservation too. It's complicated. It's complex. Okay. What else? Paperback. Were there any changes in episode 15 that you thought of while working on season 3? Were they set in stone before working on season 3? Yeah, like I said, some of the stuff of the whole, what exactly did you do on your vacation, MePhone? That was kind of changed, or like the severity to which MePhone was unwilling to revive Taco. A couple little things like that. From Limoncello, love your Robot Dreams icon, by the way. Amazing film. I wanted to say that my favorite part of the writing for this episode was the direct acknowledgement of hallucinations. As someone who struggles in a similar way to Suitcase, I can't thank you enough. That really means a lot to hear. Thank you so much for saying that. It was really important. for me to reflect that in such a way that it did feel that it would ring true. Obviously it is an animated series, so there's a certain element to it being heightened and not necessarily being a direct one-to-one reflection of reality. But I'm glad that it rings emotionally true to you and that you feel seen by the storyline. From Hell Days, he sounds tired. Well, I am tired. Okay. That's my cue to start wrapping it up. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's just 10 more minutes of these questions. But it probably won't actually take 10 minutes to go through all of them. Transwo, I like I-15, but where's toilet? Again, what do you... Who? Who is that? Who is that? Lucky says, if Justin is still here, I want to let him know I love his voice range. Well, Justin, if you are still here, Lucky loves your voice range. If you're not still here, you will never know how Lucky feels about you and your voice range. I will keep it a secret from you forever! Okay. TBP827. Can test tube stargaze again. I love that scene. Definitely want to do a callback to that scene of some kind. You'll know when you see it, if you do see it. Ronick. This is a very, very lore-heavy question, but I must ask it for the sake of the lore, and it's which character hates Tuna the most? What? None of the characters hate Tuna. Tuna is great. They hate you for hating Tuna. Get away, Ronick. All right. From Glaceon Gladiator, thank you for the donation. Do you think Meephead attempted to find Toilet after he got fired in episode 13? Also, love, you're in the cruise work. I'm glad I got to see it live. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming. I wonder which event you went to. I mean, I don't think he's really had a chance to, because either he's been still working for MePhone or he was taken by Taco and he's been helping Taco. But I'm sure he would want to find where Toilet went. And he would not have, he'd certainly not agree with Toilet's dismissal. Crest58, will the finale be out on Christmas or before Christmas? Be out on almost Christmas, like Ace Attorney. No, I think before Christmas is the goal. That's the goal. Okay. Cupidity. Not sure the filler related, but is there any time frame for when Silver Spoon's exit interview is going to be posted? Never! No, soon. Soon. Very soon. Okay, this person has asked this a lot from, I don't even know how you'd say this. Surprised emoticon? Sure. Brian, who and I would listen to Mitski? Probably Test Tube. Yeah. Yeah, that feels right. Hmm. Jazzy Oliver peeks in. Hello, Jazzy. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Okay. Fizzy Mod. Question: what music would Paintbrush and Lightbulb listen to? I love those two very much. Paintbrush would listen to, like, orchestral music. Lightbulb would just listen to Call Me Maybe and Carly Rae Jepsen on loop. And they meet in the middle with Cut to the Feeling. Okay. Taffy objects. Memory is the key to reality. If it burns down and no one remembers it was there, it's almost as if there was nothing there to begin with. Well said. Froggy Ribbit. Favorite object show, Brian? I mean, Battle for Dream Island is the honest answer. A more recent favorite. I need to see more episodes of this, but from what I've seen of PB and ZB, it's very enjoyable. I know I've mentioned it a couple times at events. Just a wonderful, delightful little slice of lifey show. The object show is not competition driven. I dig it. It's great. It's great. Super well done. Jazzy. I know I got emotional voicing my bit in the new one. I cry, lol. Yeah. No, I mean I remember directing you through that. It was quite the session. It was really good work. Really very, very good work. Yin Yang Dr. Fizz. Do you all plan on making more musicals? I think everyone can agree the insane difference the last two songs had and how improved the music in general was. I would love to see more stuff like that. Okay, noted. Mental Beef. Yeah, you guys ever going to go more in depth of Salt and Pepper separate personalities? Please, Brian, I must know. I really want to. I would love to. B-Man says, was it tiring watching I-15 and Teapot 12 plus BFDIA 14 so many times during the guns? I imagine it must be. No. I love it. They were great episodes, so I didn't get tired of them. I mean, it wasn't necessarily, like, I don't know if I always necessarily watched the BFDI episode every single time. Most times I did, or at least part of it. I would always watch, at least for all the events that I attended, I would watch the episode through beginning to end every single time, with the recap as well. Okay. From Silver, will the rest of the I2 soundtrack be released? Yes. Necrodoge. Will the winner of I2 also get a cookie if cookies are still a concept that exists at the end of the episode? Fascinating question. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just fascinated by the phrasing of this question. Wow. That's fun. That's really fun. From Sparking Blaze. I love the callback with baseball and light bulbs eliminations, respectively. How did you guys come up with the idea to do it? It added so much more to the episode, in my opinion, so I'd love to hear. The callback, in the sense that they were the two team captains that both went down with their ships, or I don't know which you specifically, I don't know what callback necessarily you're referring to there. Maybe just the idea of them both being early boots in season 1. Kind of like sort of first out after rejoins taken into effect type deal-ish. That kind of thing, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, either way, yeah, this idea of, I think it was very full circle to have the two team captains go out together. Yeah. No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Mickle Pickle. Hey, Mickle Pickle. It was great to see you in person finally at the event. How did your plans for Invitational change from the beginning? For example, I know Cabby. Oh, I assume you were going to say more, and then it was cut off. Yeah, I mean, they just sort of evolve over time as, you're learning more about the characters from episode to episode. I think also just I found a willingness, not even just a willingness, but more just like a capability to, even though the season was conceptualized as more of a break from the drama, to like find ways to insert more serious storylines as we went on. So I think that's part of how it evolved, at least from my perspective. Like Bill says, oh no, hit enter too soon. Well, finish what you were going to say. Did you ever finish what you were going to say? I don't know. I don't know if you did. You should have. Oh well. Here's one from Cookie. I absolutely loved I-15, and you're writing on it. I'm just wondering, what stage is I-16 in production right now, if you can say? Well, thank you for the donation, Cookie. We We are very far along. Yeah. No, I mean, it's in good shape. I'll just say it's in good shape. There's, stuff is in animation at this point. So, yeah. So it's in good shape. I'll just say that at this point in time for now. Okay, Mickle Pickle did finish. I know Cabby wasn't set to win until a few months before. I knew Silver wasn't supposed to make the finale. Any other examples? Yeah, well, I mean, Cabby I definitely kind of had hoped would win pretty much the whole time. At the very least, would make the finals. It just wasn't set in stone who would win. Silver not making the finale. Yeah, Nickel would have made it instead. Any other examples? Candle getting out sooner, which, yeah, I wanted her to last longer. The floor wasn't always necessarily intended to become MePhone's assistant. It was more something I realized as I was putting together the Homeless or the Hardest script, because I was like, oh, this makes just a lot of sense as a resolution. So that's something. Okay, we're hitting up on the 340. Yeah, I mean, I think I've covered all of the questions that I said would be covered. So what I will now do is I will just go through the remaining super chats, see if there were any others that were sent since then, because if someone gave some money, I want to make sure that their donation was worth it. So I will take a look and see. Let's see. Are there any more? Here we go. Legend Lang. Hi, fave fan reaction or interaction at the meetup. Oh my gosh, so many. Yeah, there was like a group of like 2 people in one of the events that were reacting so big at one of the screenings. I told them that because I was just in the audience during it. So it was like just seeing and hearing the reactions, and after I was just like, your reactions were amazing. Like I went up to them like, thank you for them, because they were just great. But like for specific reaction, I don't know. I think I just really enjoy the cheering for especially at the end when people would start to say in unison with MePhone at the end, see you next time, or say last time on Inanimate Insanity, and then Cobb's calling, and then the screams that resulted. Oh my goodness. Those were so fun. So fun. Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Yeah, Justin. Oh, he did fill in about Taco and Lightbulb. Don't know we talked about it, but don't recall many details. Lightbulb saw there was some truth to Taco season 1 presentation of herself. Taco would investigate what that means. And there was a part 2 to this as well. Oh, just a general comedy of Taco trying to mold Lightbulb into something serious, and Lightbulb just not caring to listen. Worst teammate ever. We love her for that. Yes. This is sounding familiar. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Inanimate Insanity ends, and Knife and Suitcase say, that really was my Inanimate Insanity. Thanks, Jelly Spaghetti. That's a great final quote. Haley's Productions, thank you for the donation. Have y'all ever thought of making a spin-off series based off of episode 14? Based off of episode 14 of season 2, I'm assuming, of Hatching the Plan. Like about the aliens, or just like about like telling that story in a longer form of time? I wonder what you mean. I wonder what you mean. And then they say go to bed. Okay. I will listen to that as long as I ensure that there were no other super chats. If you're above that, thank you for the support, Justin. Can always count on you. Oh my God, Brian instead of Brian Sweep. Brian Sweep. That's so funny. That is so funny. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Moon, thank you for the donation. Hi, Brian. Hope you're having a great day. My question is, when would we get the episode 15 soundtrack on like music apps, like Spotify and Apple Music? We'll definitely get Taco's tirade pretty soon. As for the other instrumental score, I don't know. That might be packaged with the remainder of season 2 instrumental stuff. I like, oh, you sound like Seuss when you do the Doe voice. Yeah. I mean, I have been watching some Gravity Falls again recently, so maybe that's having an effect. From Imaginations, where does MePhone's rescue MePad fit in the timeline as they weren't seen in the first episode? So MePad was not processed yet. We see they have like a loading bar screen. So it wasn't until season 2, episode 2, where they like kind of come into consciousness. So that is the explanation right there. We see that in the flashback, that they're like loading. Okay. Angel, hello Brian, loved episode 15. I want to ask about Taco and Mike. Have we seen fully how Taco truly feels about Mike yet, or is he softer than she lets on? I mean, I think we've already seen Taco's pretty soft about Mike. But she's softer than that, I think, as well. She's pretty heartbroken about Microphone leaving her. If you couldn't already tell. Woo hoof. It's rough. Hmm. Hmm. Um. So to run off topic, but are you excited for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse? Yes, I cannot wait for it to come out in like 5 years. Okay, like 3 years, maybe 4. Universe Book, hello, thanks for leaving a comment on my video. If you remember, LOL, love ya. Oh my gosh, wait. Let me figure out what that must have been. What did I leave a comment on? Oh, thoughts on Truth or Flare, of course. Oh yeah, no, that was an awesome video. Yeah, definitely continue to do analysis, because that was really, really great. It was one of my favorite analyses I've seen of the show, certainly in recent memory. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, definitely everyone check out, from the Universe book, my thoughts on Truth or Flare. It was just a really thoughtful video. I really, enjoyed, that analysis on the Alliance. Now it's like, oh, did it just never exist, or what? Between Suitcase, Baseball, and Gang, and Co., so to speak. Okay. We're just about caught up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, that's 4:40. We're very close to the current time. It's thrilling to hear the scrolling. I know it is. Crazy Spell, your friends with tacos VA. Oh yeah, Reagan. Yeah, no, we talk a lot. No, she's awesome. From that artistic record, what would Knife's music taste be? Any ideas? Death metal, emphasis on death. Lesser emphasis on metal, but still important. Still important. Oh, hey Jordy, I didn't even see you were in here. Have a good one. Slug got potatoes. Will you ever get to know more about the MePhones before 3GS or Meeple in general? Yes, at some point. Top Hat, Hi Bramwell, Cobb's got a villain song. That would be really fun. I like the idea of that. I mean, yeah, who knows? Whoops, wait, hang on. Before I get to that. Hey, Sharp, will be MePhone 4S merch and return MePhone plush. I mean, MePhone 4S, I mean, maybe at some point. Returning MePhone plush, maybe, if there's a demand for that. Okay, is it cute? When Taco was singing Taco Sarah, could anyone hear her? She was literally behind MePhone and the contestants when she sang that high note. There has to be a way they heard that. It's a little less literal, this musical number, than I feel like y'all think it is. You know? I think that's your explanation right there. Okay. Sparking Blaze. Just want to clarify my question about callbacks. Meant how, like, Lightbulb left like Paintbrush did in Season 3, and Baseball got surprise double elimination like Nickel. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Paintbrush elimination was basically reverse engineered to tie in with what Lightbulb was going to do in this Truth or Flare episode. So, yes. And Baseball getting surprise double elimination like Nickel. Yes, that was definitely very much intentional. And hopefully, yeah, it brings them all peace to a certain extent. That parallelism, or the very least for Baseball, it's like, well, reliving the trauma, but it not being as bad, you know. Yeah, hopefully it does something for him. I eat toothbrushes. Great username. I remember this username. In universe, how does the So streaming work? Is it on a streaming service if it's not on live TV? It's on like a YouTube type site. Yeah. Simple as that. Okay. Well, we're all caught up. Great. So, I will officially call it at 5:05. So, if you have any last question you want to ensure is answered, I'll give one more chance. If you want to super chat it on through, by all means, go for it. But you must do it now before it is too late. And then I'm going to call it there. But this was really, really fun, and I'm so glad we were able to do this and preserve this moment in time, frozen in time. It's so special. Just so special. Well, actually, you had a question about. Oh no, you were interrupted. No. Okay, 5:03. Okay, 2 more minutes. That's it. That is all. From Mickle Pickle. Do you have any plans to make a video about episode 15 story like you did with episode 14? Love to see it. I would love to do that. Part of why I did this video is because I know that would take time to make that, and I don't know if I really have that time these days. I gotta finish the season 2 finale. That is higher priority than just going behind the scenes. So, you know, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll have time to do it now. So this is the consolation prize. From Lilac. If you guys were to do a 4th season, would it be another competition, or would you be open to doing a more casual slice of lifestyle season? Yeah, again, I would want to do something a little bit different than what we had done before. That doesn't mean that it's not competition based, but yeah, I would just want it to be its own thing. both in terms of the art style, but also just in the storytelling approach. I think the fans are owed that. From Soy Marvin, will this be uploaded to your channel? Yeah, no, it'll be available to rewatch on my channel. So don't you worry. You can watch it and rewatch it again and again to your heart's content. Freckles take a rest. Don't get sick. Love you. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Well, once we come up on the end of 505, then that will be it. But thank you all again so very much for coming. Really appreciate. Hope you enjoyed uncovering the truth behind Truth or Flare. Oh, this person just donated. They didn't even ask a question. It makes my job so easy. Thank you very much. But yeah, this was really great. Much love to you all. I'll be really excited for you to see the finale. Really, very, very soon. Very soon. Yeah, it's gonna be a special one. Oh my goodness. Whew. All right. Well, with that, thank you all, and have a great day or night, depending on what part of the world you live in. Woohoo! That's the sound of the stream exploding.